Actually, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to lie to you.
As
So
I understand how Twitch works, if you start streaming on a 5-minute delay, the stream will go live, quote unquote, in 5 minutes, but it basically just records a 5-minute buffer.
okay, well they've heard all of this so far then. Real quick, I'll just say welcome back everybody to some more Mechwarrior Online gameplay. We're gonna be casting Strikewing versus Critical Damage Unit. Whoop whoop. Should be a great match because both teams are kind of fresh to the tournament and should be bringing some experienced players and maybe some surprising strats. This is Yuntao doing some color casting. I also am joined by my two co-casters, Zane.
Hello.
And Vampy.
Yo.
So what we're going to be doing today is that I will be color casting the matches when they actually, or the fighting when it does start. I'm going to go ahead and give a brief introduction for one team, and then we're going to have Zane give the introduction for the other team. And then Zane and Vampy will go back and forth, kind of talk about maybe the strats, some of the plans, maybe even the builds, kind of speculate a little bit. Maybe I'll throw in a question here and there because I'm also curious about what's going on, and these two guys know what's up. And then I will take over, like I said, just talking about how cool it is to see things blow up. So it should be a fun time.
If you remember our last stream, essentially, I'm going to have someone to talk to when I speculate wildly about what the other team is going to, the teams are going to do, instead of just me monologuing. Should be fun.
Yeah, right here to support you too.
And just as a brief reminder, yes, we are playing in the tournament as well. Yes, it's been fun, and yes, we're excited to see more matches. But ultimately, we were ready to see Strikewing and Critical Damage Unit do some work, and that's what we're all here for. We don't really care about who's playing. We just want to see mechs grow up. But I am personally excited for this match. I think we're gonna see some spicy stuff. Now, Zane did cover last match with Strikewing against versus Bear Cavalry or Bear Brawlers. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. You and I casted that match, yes. So Strikewing had some interesting brawls that I was very excited, or interesting drops that I was very excited for. I hope they bring that same creativity this time. I know last match they brought a rocket launcher 800 drop deck, and I think that can work. I'm hopeful that can work. That said, both teams coming off a loss as we head into this match. Strikewing lost to... Who did they lose to round one?
They lost to Bears Brawlers.
Right, to Bear Brawlers, and then Critical Damage Unit.
Den of Wolves.
Yeah, they lost a very convincing drop to Den of Wolves. So both teams kind of looking for the rebound as we come into this drop. But one of the benefits of the Swiss system is that you, as the tournament goes on, you get sorted and matched with teams that have the same record. So we should see a very evenly matched drop here.
That is very true, Zane. So what I think is, as you mentioned, the Swiss format is definitely good. It also eliminates bad luck. So it's versus single or double elimination. So if a good team just loses due to bad luck, they don't automatically get booted out of the competition, but they still get the chance to play throughout the entirety of the match. And from what we see here, Critical Damage Unit and Strikewings, even though they are in so-called the losers bracket, I'm sure they have something to learn from their past experience, and they'll be definitely be bringing something new to the match today.
Now, as we're filling for time until the match gets started here, to go over the tournament format, the first two drops this week will be on HPG, and the teams are capped at 270 tons. Drops 3 and 4 will be on Grim Plexus at 350 tons, and then the final drop will be on Mining Collective with 430 tons available. To remind everyone of the tournament format rules, it is 6v6, 3-cap conquest, and each team can only bring up to 3 of each mech per match, and only 1 hero per drop.
And just something to add to it, something that I've talked to with both leaders, and I think they definitely appreciated. One of the things that we got as a compliment from the last time we casted this is that they like the enthusiasm and they like how we were able to give more of an objectified opinion about the mechs. Both teams definitely expressed that they were going to try maybe some weird things. Some things might be a little different from the norm, but they want us to kind of focus on just the freshness of it as opposed to getting a little critical about their mech builds. And I think that's something we definitely did last time, and I think that's something we could definitely do for them this time as well.
Not that we're bribable. Other teams, feel free to send me cupcakes and I will give you glowing praise in the drafting. I'm not corrupt at all.
Vegan tacos. I will take them all days of the week, morning, night, doesn't really matter. Tacos in general are really great. So, Vampy, what's your bribe that you like?
Not bribe. You mean we absolutely cannot bribe the other teams.
Oh yeah,
But Vampy, if a
wink.
team were to fail to bribe you, what would they fail to bribe you with?
That's a tough question for me personally. I don't really have a favorite, but let me think of it.
The stream
Right
will
off
go live.
the top of my head, ice cream.
What's your favorite ice cream, Vampy? Let me hear it.
Well, strawberry, I guess.
Oh, bold choice. I'm a pistachio type of person myself.
So we've heard that. Absolutely do not send Vampy strawberry ice cream.
Right. Do not send any bribes whatsoever to any of us. We are exempt from that. We are above that. We just secretly want it. That's all.
We are about T minus 3 minutes to game time here, everyone.
So 3 minutes to excitement, and just to expand on the match rules, even though it is conquest, there's only 3 cap points that are so-called the valid ones. So if a team captures an invalid one, they have to win by kills and capture points. So that is something that viewers should take note of. Like perhaps you may think, oh, why are they not capping this? So that's one of the reasons why.
So on HPG, the 3 valid points are epsilon, kappa, and theta, which means we're going to be ignoring sigma and gamma. Nobody cares about those. On Grim Plexus, we are ignoring theta and epsilon. So kappa, gamma, and sigma are the 3 points that these teams will be fighting over. And finally, on Mining Collective, sigma, theta, and gamma will be the 3 valid points. Nobody cares about kappa. Nobody cares about epsilon.
I mean, we care, but they're just not as cool. That's just simply how it is. I'm sure there's probably strategic thought and yada 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 of like why this point is better than that point. I mean, all it matters is like it's just gonna corral people into a spot where they can shoot each other. I mean, that's what I'm here for.
The other thing to keep in mind is that this is 6v6, not 12v12, and that is the big impetus for the 3 caps instead of the full 5. If you can imagine trying to contest 5 caps with 6 mechs, it's just not really going to work.
Well, it can work. It's just that it's not going to be too exciting. I mean, you see one mech on each point. I think what we would like to see is mech on mech action, massive big battles like 3v3, 6v6 over a point.
My God.
And I think limiting the captures to 3 points facilitates that idea. So what do you think, Zane?
I agree. Also, in order to facilitate brawls and not make everyone's light mechs, aka me, our lives difficult, there's no lock-on weapons for the first 2 drops. So no streaks, no LRMs.
Yeah, with that thought, with lock-on weapons being not allowed in the first 2 drops, so it makes ECM less attractive in terms of bringing it. So would you want to see ECM being brought into the game, or would you think teams should not bring ECM since it's not going to serve too much purposes?
So even though you lose the lock-on gap is still not great, ECM also does block you from radar, and speaking at least personally, my eyesight's not the best. Sometimes, although not always, I'm getting better about spotting mechs. The fact that ECM and stealth will keep you off the radar blip and make it so that you can't get target spotted, you can't ping the other team, that is an important factor, I believe.
Yep, I would agree too. So personally, even if there were no lock-on weapons, I still would bring ECM just for the coverage. Makes you much harder to detect, and ECM also serves another purpose where it covers your teammates as well. It makes the entire team difficult to lock on, and you just cannot do the target spotted thing from the enemy team. It just makes positioning movement just a bit safer.
The third thing to consider is you dive into a brawl, that seeing that low signal on your minimap, it's a scary thing.
Yeah, I will agree. It just makes you turn around, look around for that one pesky little mech with the ECM, and doing that, you actually expose your back to the enemy, which may be what the enemy wants.
Never underestimate the capacity of a flea to turn an entire lance around and give the gun line free back shots.
Yeah, as they say, don't chase the rabbit, yo.
Mhm.
But sometimes those
So it's-
rabbits are just being unfair. Like they come in with like the nicest clothes. You know, they're so hoity-toity, and you're like, how dare you shoot me in the back? I'm going to show you what for. And then you run into an entire team, or you spend an hour chasing that mech. It's definitely a show in life, that's for sure, or a lesson in life.
So it looks like both teams are loaded in.
Woo!
We're just waiting
We're
on Team
ready.
1 to
I'm
lock.
ready. You're ready.
Now, there is a little bit of hidden information here because Team 1 does have to commit their lances first, and then Team 2 can react. And it looks like Strike Wings is hard committing to Alpha Lance with 2 mechs and Bravo Lance. So what that means is that they're probably going to push right to Theta. Oh, wait, no, they're moving things around. They're splitting Alpha Charlie. Ah! Charlie Lance is probably going to grab Epsilon and then rotate in. Alpha Lance charging to Theta.
All right.
That certainly looks like the plan. So just wondering how would critical damage work around that? Would they be doing a wall strat or would they be doing charge strat? So in HPG, there's always this balance, this dichotomy. Do you take the top? Do you not take the top? So I'm just wondering what would CDU bring? And as Yuntal added earlier, it seems like CDU is going to bring fresh strats to the table. So I'm just curious, excited to see what would they do on HPG Manifold.
My gut instinct is that at some point tonight we're going to see a basement brawl. I know it's an easy strat to counter. You take top and wait and take the 2 caps. But I also want to see a fight in the basement. You know, like you have this lovely basement. Let's have a street fight down there.
Yeah, definitely. But the critical thing is when you're traveling to the basement, how safe are you? Do you have enemies looking at you? If they spot the entire team moving towards the basement, they can just simply go for the 2 cap move and just hold the top, and the team in the basement is simply stuck.
We actually did see that happen to CDU in round 1. Den of Wolves just took top. CDU went basement, waited for the fight, and got capped out. Okay,
Definitely.
so sorry to interrupt. Strike Wings has locked. They're going 3 in Bravo Lance, 3 in Charlie Lance, which means that they're probably going to push for the middle. The response from CDU is 4 in Charlie, 1 in Bravo, 1 in Alpha. That's a pretty standard spread. I'm going to guess that Phenomenon's mech is going to run to join Charlie Lance, and we're going to see a fight.
If I may,
Yep.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Yuntal.
I just wanted to kind of rehash it for everybody who's just stopping by. Once again, thanks to all the viewers who are already trickling in. If you don't mind, let other people know what the plan is. So just to clarify, we are doing Strike Wing versus Critical Damage Unit. We have technically 3 casters with us. Both Zane and Vampy are going to be going over a lot of the technical readouts. I will be commentating when the action starts fighting. I'm going to go ahead and go to the other side of the map so I can see the other team drop. This being, if I remember correctly, it's going to be Critical Damage Unit. And I'm going to go over their build or their loadouts and their builds, and then we also have the same thing coming from Zane, and then I'm going to let them talk and commentate about what's going on. I will take over when the action starts, just to kind of give everyone on the same page. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Okay, so we have a pair of crabs, a Vulcan, a K9, and a Phoenix Hawk from CDU. This is looking like an MPL brawl.
Here we go. All right, looking at the critical damage unit, we have a Irby mech with K9, first hero, Kentaro, Phoenix Hawk, Crab. We have a Vulcan and a Crab. I am assuming, and let's take a quick look. Do we have some pulse builds? I think we might. Ooh, actually, Irby, you'll love this, Zane, is running a rotary AC2 with ER medium lasers, and we have some of the commandos also coming in. Running SRM2, so kind of a mixed loadout build. Checking out the Raven real quick.
Sorry, I actually covered CDU by mistake, but Strike Wing is running a mix of MPL Brawl and SRMs. They've got the Roughneck with two SRM4s and Rotary 2s. The Commando is going to be spotting some SRMs as well. I'm curious about this Street Cleaner, though, because we have both Hero Irbies in this early drop.
I'll let you guys take over here, but it does seem like there is a little poking going on already from the basement as we see the guys circle around. And as we pay attention on the far reach of nearby Kappa, we already have a Vulcan, and it looks like a Raven scrapping off. But, you know, not to take Strikewing out of it because they went ahead and sent an Irby, and yet a Commando trying to put out the damage towards the Vulcan. The Vulcan, realizing it's a 1v3 situation and not a fight they want to win, is already pulling back, allowing Strikewing access to the Kappa point.
So this is a curious play for me from Strikewing, because they have essentially this light Wolfpack gank squad of the Urban Mech, the Commando, and the Raven. They're going to get the 2 caps. They've got their 3 heavier mechs set up on top, like we were saying, because what we saw with CDU, they went immediately for the brawl in the basement.
Command confirming that we have possession of Kappa.
Vampy, thoughts?
Yeah, from what I see, that this, even though CDU mentioned that they're going to be bring fresh threats, they still went for the basement brawl, which I think in this context puts them in a difficult position, especially with the one Vulcan that were fighting 1 versus 3. I think CDU is going to be fighting from a back foot right now, but we see them, they've moved out to the open, and they're trying to reestablish their dominance by taking the top. I think they're just positioning to want to move up to take the top again. And right now we see Strikewing, they're all grouping up, and we might see a huge battle turn out in the next 10 seconds or so.
Oh, absolutely. I would even see that 10 seconds is now as we see the big brawl actually emerge from the top of HBG. I hope their telecutions are working great because his comms are on fire right now. We see a lot of fighting going down. Looks like we have go ahead and break down into the midst of this. We already have at 69% one of the crabs from critical damage unit. But look at the roughneck going to 55%. It is being focused. We already see a component get blown off from that mech. It's cherry red in its CT. But look at Voodoo Starship has fallen down and is now in the face of the Roughneck Raven, but there goes the first kill, going away from Strikewing, getting taken out. We have one Roughneck down. Can they play? Oh, and yes they do. Voodoo Starship, artillery shots coming in, mass pandemonium, but it looks like there is still a little bit of focus fire going towards the other Roughneck of Strikewing coming from Critical Damage Unit, and yet another mech goes down. In fact, 2 mechs, so there's a little bit of scrapping going down from the bottom. Commando, Irby mech trying to get back into the fight, focusing on the crab, who the crab is definitely focused on. Oh, crab on crab fighting. It's a seafood buffet, everybody. And we have a Vulcan moving off to the side as well, trying to get a couple of shots, trying to save their crab, but boom, there goes another kill. Critical damage unit is down to 4 units. Ooh, but doesn't matter. Strikewing has now lost yet another one. It's just a Commander and an Irby doing their best. Light Squad going at it, still focusing that crab. Now the question is, are they able to take out those legs? Oh, they're having to. It looks like they're actually getting a little stuck in the forays, so they're trying to get their shots, still being focused by the crab on the Irby, but you know Irbys, they are way too tanky for their own good. Commandos being able to use that actually hitbox to side off the damage from these other mechs. Looks like they have decided to split forces. Looks like the Irby mech has indeed drawed one of the crabs away. It's just a 1v1 fight. Who wins, a crab or an Irby? I don't know, but the artillery strike trying to put a little zoning for the rest of the critical damage unit so this Irby can keep fighting, but critical damage unit is not afraid as they push in for that final kill against the Irby mech. Now looks like the Commando realizing the situation, realizing it's a 1v4, but deciding, hell no, I won't go, and going right back into the fight. Looks like it's trying to initiate any kind of fight against the mechs. The question is, what does it have on it? I don't see much firepower, and the leg being shot at the moment definitely ends that match for us with 249 points to Strikewing, definitely a decent lead with 185 points to critical damage unit. What do we think of that fight, everybody?
So what we saw there from CDU was essentially the appropriate response. They knew that Strikewing was putting that 3-person light squad out and that they wouldn't necessarily have the tonnage set to receive the push. Strikewing initially was doing quite well. They were backing off the hill and getting in those rotary 2 shots, but CDU just kind of outbrawled them.
Yeah, I just would like to add that Phenomenon 740 in the Vulcan, even though he was facing a 1 versus 3, he came out relatively healthy at 76%. And when the brawl started at the top, we had Striker SW in the Commando. He was already down to 63% when the fight started. So definitely I would say that CDU, they started out with a back foot, but they managed to turn things around very beautifully, focusing on the right mechs, taking down the enemy team one by one.
Focus fire really coming through.
Yep, and right now it's just capture as much points and to push for the victory. So one thing to add is when all mechs are dead, you can actually capture invalid points just to move the match quicker to the victory condition.
Although it looks like there's enough time on the clock and the lead isn't quite big enough that CDU needs to cap all 5 points immediately. They are sending one of their members out to do it, Linkman in the K9, but he's going to take a stroll to Gamma.
It looks like they're
And
also
enjoy
doing
the
the same
way.
thing from Kappa to Sigma. So they're doing
The
their best.
enemy has capped enough resources.
And there they have it, everybody.
He failed.
Match drop 1 going to critical damage unit. Good fight though, loved it.
Yeah, I don't know that the street cleaner really worked. I like the idea, but I feel like either the K9 or one of the generic Urbies would have been a better slot. Yeah, like I own every Urban Mech. I love them. They're beautiful pieces of machinery. I don't know that the bonus you get from the street cleaner, being able to put that larger engine in it, really came through.
Yeah, I will agree with that analysis saying Street Cleaner is just the inferior Urbi compared to the K9 and even the normal variants. So I run the Street Cleaner myself, and I admit that I like the Street Cleaner, but then it can just never put out as much damage as the K9.
The map that I could see the street cleaner working on is actually Grim Plexus, because we know, or not Grim Plexus. Wait, yes, no, Grim Plexus. Because that map is huge. And on that map, maybe the extra 30 kph is worth it.
That is assuming you're taking the bigger engine.
I mean, if you're not going to take the bigger engine, why take the street cleaner?
That is a valid point, Zane. So it'll be interesting, curious to probably get into the interview with Strike Week just to kind of find out what were their thoughts behind the street cleaner.
I mean, after the match, we can message them and see if they want to chat.
Yeah.
Personally, and this is something that this is just my own reflection. So one of the things I know that we stressed was that familiarity, like trying to be comfortable with mechs that you already have. And we got to remember, like everyone is trying to deal with their own spectrum of mechs. We don't know what necessary Strikewing or CDU have available to them. I know with us, it was just like, what mechs do we have? Cool, let's make that work. So it very well might just have been one person had a street cleaner. You know, if anything, then maybe what we need to see is a little more support from chat to go ahead and give them a K9. There's tons of bundles out there they would love to see that. And you know, I kind of agree with Zane. Urbies are just beautiful mechs. It's good to have one. You need a trash can just to throw your stuff away or to pack all that sweet salvage you get from enemy mechs into. So maybe the street cleaner was just, this is what we have available. Either way, the street cleaner, I will agree, can do some work. It definitely is. It's just Urbi mechs in general. Would the K9 be better, or maybe a different Urbi mech? Possibly, but maybe that's what they had, and I think they did their best with what they had.
Well, the thing I love about having cast 2 of Strikewing's matches now, whether or not they pull it off, they have a plan and they go for it. And I love that they will commit to a plan.
Absolutely.
Like this drop, they had lots of Rack 2s. Their thought process was Rack 2s have decent range. HPG is a very open map. We can take advantage. And I love that they commit.
That may be true, but I think HPG Racto, considering the position that Strike Wing were in, they were fighting around the middle where there's a lot of angles, ramps, and invisible walls that will block the shots. I'm not too sure if Ractos were actually the better choice. I think normal regular ACs would have been much better. Because Ractos, if you miss, you're generating wasted heat, wasting ammunition. But in terms of regular ACs, if you know that you're hitting a wall, you just stop and just cool off, and there's no gem bar being built.
Now, where the fight actually ended up fighting out, I don't know the map coordinates, and we can't unfortunately see it on the spectator view. But where most of that brawl ended up happening, there's that large open space next to the wall. If Strikewing, instead of going up top, which I get that it is the strategically correct decision, but if they had set up their gun line there, they may have been able to better take advantage of those Rack 2s.
Yep, that I will agree. And I think if they would have taken the better position, they might have turned the lower health percentage that they started the battle with into their favor. And they might have actually gotten the first kill over CDU rather than the other way around.
And like even looking at the mechs that were left on CDU, you had Orc Digital at 47%, Ichi at 63% in those crabs. Even Crypto and the Phoenix Hawk was at 80%. Those aren't super fresh mechs.
Yeah. And look at the K9, it's 95.
The one thing I would have liked to see more from CDU, or from, sorry, not from CDU, from Strike Wings, strikes. Half the reason CDU was able to do as much in that brawl as they did is they were very smart about their artillery strikes and they were very smart about their UAVs. But let's see how they do it in drop 2 as we load into the match.
Right. So tell me more about the strikes. I only saw one strike coming from CDU and not too much from Strike Wing. So I guess you have to be better visual.
I
So
catching 4 from CDU as Strike Wings fell back off the top and CDU started to push them down. They dropped strike on the kind of lower pagoda of HPG as they were on the very top. And I counted 4 strikes from them, and I think 1 from 4 strikes from CDU and 1 from Strike Wing. Now we're loaded into match 2. I will read out the right team this time, which is I think CDU again for me.
If I'm crossing over, it's pretty sure I'm CDU and you got Strike Wing because you're over in the same spot you started, right?
Yes.
All right, so yeah,
So I'm
you got
reading
Strike
out
Wing.
Strike Wing.
Go ahead and go.
Man coming in. Capture and hold the resource points. Stop any hostiles that get in your way.
Like it.
Okay, so we have Shay's Darkflame and a Pirate's Bane.
Yeah, that is correct. Pirate's Bane.
Running ER Smalls and heavy machine guns. We have an R68, which will be probably SRM, 3 ER Smalls, and MRM 30. And then we have a Bushy X1. I'm going to take a guess that that's Rax, and a Shadowhawk with 3
We have
AC2s.
gained Epsilon.
2 Shadow. Oh, Strike Wings is running back the Rax. So they've got 2 Shadowhawks and 2 Bushies, all with 3 Rack 2s.
I said I'm gonna go over real quick because the action is already starting. Strike Wing, critical damage unit did eject Kintaro, another BattleMech K9, Kintaro, Crab, Assassin, Vulcan. But there are already rotary shots coming in from quite a few mechs coming from Strike Wing as they were trying to pressure off critical unit. Looks like we're seeing definitely a more aggressive pull as we have 4 mechs flanking over to their respective right side, while we still have the Locust Bane and the Mech securing the Kappa and now just kind of scouting out a little bit. Looks like the damage has stopped as you see some rotaries going out towards the UAVs left behind by CDU, and we have their own first artillery strike going down, and we have some trade shots going off. Go ahead.
MPL brawl here. Sorry, CDU is bringing an MPL brawl here. We saw them hard commit to basement again, and let's see if just on the run back, Strike Wing can hold the top this time.
yeah, CDU. Strike Wing with the new builds that bring racks, and this time they're committing. They opted to move from the corner, and I think starting the engagement that way puts them in a slight advantage. Just looking at the health numbers, we see Strike Wing is much more healthy than CDU.
Well, I mean, those Rack 2s have what, 800 meter optimal range compared to 300 on the MPLs.
Yeah,
And
so
quick,
the Rack 2s definitely puts Strike Wing in the advantage. But the thing is, with Rack 2s, you take a long time taking those UAV down.
Sorry.
all right, real quick, we
CDU
have.
picking up?
I was gonna say we have some movement coming out from CDU as they are leaving the basement in a concerted effort. They did notice that the Locust Bane did indeed cap the Epsilon, so making a wise decision, they were like, okay, we have to take this fight. We're already down for 2 caps. We don't have that much of a lead. Let's make this fight. A late artillery strike coming down from assuming Strike Wing trying to stop it. Those rotaries though ripping into CDU. This is the fight that they need to make. We did have one Mech drop down, a Crab joining them. Was that a mistake? We'll find out in just a moment. We already have the Kintaro taking a fair amount of damage, but they found their target and the Bushwhacker goes down. Once again, Bushwhackers, solid mechs, but unfortunately, if they get focus fire, just like any mech, they do fall down. Now, Strike Wing is down a mech, but as you notice, is something that Vampy pointed out, critical damage unit has taken some damage. They have 2 mechs under 60%. Looks like they are making a vying of position. Both of the Strike Wing focusing on Crypto and his Kintaro as he's trying to make a brave attempt to take the top. It does seem there is a little bit of a floundering going on from CDU, but I have every faith that they're going to bring this fight back. Crypto being focused, and they're trying to share their armor. They're putting mechs in between, trying to focus out that Shadowhawk, now allowing it to actually getting closer. The other Kintaro taking the hits, and their first kill going over to critical damage unit with 2 mechs still damaged. But that doesn't mean the game is out. We are still in a 5v5 match. Let's see if the rotary mechs are still doing. And look at that aggression coming out of Strike Wing, still pouring out the damage, still ripping into this brawl melee that's going on. on. We have CDU trying to get at them, but unfortunately they are trying to like establish some kind of assault against his withering assault they're receiving from this hail of bullets that's happening. The Urban Mech running away from Strikewing, trying to like outposition and move those mechs out so that way CDU can be attacked. CDU making a smart play by using the walls themselves in order to kind of get themselves closer, trying to get the damage. But and because of that, they were able to eke out another kill against the Urban Mech. Urban Mech finally going down for Strikewing. It looks like the fighting is just going down to limited training. However, Crypto kind of alone, kind of focused, trying to get that kill on the last striker, I would imagine, for the Shadowhawk. But his teammates are not that far behind. Going back in, seeing the Shadowhawk is weakened, they are focusing down as much as can. I think, ladies and gentlemen, and those beyond the binary, we have a fight going on. Another mech going down. Strikewing with 3 mechs. We have 3 mechs from critical damage, trading damage. Strikewing does have a Shadowhawk that is down to 43%. Look at the brawl ensue. They have 1 mech dropping down to 43% mech, knowing it's being focused and knowing these damage dropping away so that they maybe could trade some armor a little effectively. Already making its effort to get back up the ramp. The fighting is going in between these pillars. Oh my goodness, so much picky-poo action. Am I playing a child's game, or are we seeing some good mech warfare? I think it's more the latter. I bet y'all would agree. As we see more mech components flying off. That Locust Bane doing what work he can, trying to track down that Irby. The Shadowhawk is re-engaged. The Assassin, though, knowing and doing his job as its name is given, focusing that as Shadowhawk before he gets a chance to get back to the fray. CDU showing that they're not counted out. With their mech's damage does not matter. Still giving a good fight, but Strikewing putting that strike and fear into the hearts of CDU. Seems to be trading that damage. Pirate's Bane, noticing it's being focused, is trying to withdraw some of his attacks. We see a 1v1 fight going between the Bushwreck and the Assassin, and once again, the Assassin's name coming through, putting out that damage. Strikewing, it's all up to you with your Locust Bane. Ooh, I like this move, trying to play a little bit Harry Potter action going on from beneath the ramp. Will they be noticed? Will they be found out? Does look like Crab. Itchy is like, I'm pretty sure he was around this corner. That Locust Bane is like, oh, he doesn't know me. He doesn't see me.
Shays needs to hold this. The longer he holds this, he wins. If he stays alive, CDU or Strikewing still has 2 caps. If he stays alive and he can hold 1 cap, he can win it out here.
Yes, right now, Strikewing is a game of buying time, while CDU is definitely trying to hunt. But would they want to split a mech off to capture, to regain the lead with a 2-point or maybe even a 3-point cap? What do you think, Zane?
So at this point, Strikewing actually has enough of a lead that if they can hold 1 point, they can win. So all Shays needs to do is make sure Epsilon doesn't fall, and he can win it out here. The other thing to consider too, Linkman, Orc, and even Itachi, these are all very beat up mechs. And that Pirate's Bane has twin machine guns. It can absolutely do a lot of work here, but it's all on Shays' shoulders.
That is a valid point, but then again, you mentioned machine guns, but it's still a 1 versus 3. How long can you last against 1 versus 3? And we see that the Pirate's Bane has already his front CD caught out. Just 1 stray shot and he's pretty much dead.
Yeah.
I do agree. No. I think this is a great play for Strikewing. I think this is probably the smartest decision they can do given the circumstances. I would like to see a re-engagement, but we would have to wait just a little bit longer. I think they're trying to bite out as much time as they can.
Now, Strikewings, there were some problems with how they played out that fight. The focus fire wasn't really there for them, but they had the positioning to make better advantage of those racks. It was almost like they were listening to our comments on match 1 there.
I just checked their 5-minute delay. I am pretty sure we're good, so thank you for clarifying.
And again, to be clear, we're on a 5-minute delay. The players cannot get useful information out of us. But it was just, it seems like they knew what their problem was with their drop and they fixed it. But again, CDU, they brawled that out beautifully. They had the focus fire. They traded out armor very well. I would have maybe liked to see some more leg shots.
Yep, they definitely did the brawl well, and they certainly took the advantage against the weakness of Strikewing with their racks. I think CDU, they made a great call pushing out from the basement, and when they pushed out, Strikewing was completely out of position.
Real quick, I would just want to make sure we observe this. Shays Dark Flame has definitely noticed the Assassin. I do not think that the Assassin, piloted by, I'm going to butcher your name, Orca Digital, I don't think they've gotten noticed. Now, critical damage unit has taken the lead. They do have a small lead over the locust pain bane, or excuse me, pirate bane. Now the thing is, the clock is ticking. There's only nearly just a minute left in the match. It's gonna take an engagement right now, and here we go. Shay's Dark Flame feeling the fire, feeling the anger, seeing all their teammates go down. It's like, nah, today is not this day. Getting to the fight, shots going back and forth. We already see the critical damage unit trying to send their mechs in order to help and engage. But as Vampy is more positioned, Shay's Dark Blade has to keep going, otherwise he's gonna get shot. And the shot he did, a valiant fight between Strikewing and Critical Champion. I could not have asked for a better fight. All that bullets, all that damage. My goodness, guys, that was amazing.
These teams said they were going to give us a fight, and they gave us a fight.
Indeed, they did. Man, CDU, compared to the last fight that they had, they performed much more stellar this round. It's amazing how much they've improved over the 1 week.
You know, we're going to call that match 1, and maybe in the entirety of week 1 match, we're just going to call that a warm-up. Both teams firing on all cylinders now.
Oh, absolutely do not count any team out just from those first couple matches by any margin. And I have to say, that was exactly what we needed to see out of the Strikewing. They grouped up, they had a plan, as you mentioned in the first one, and they brought it. It was just a little bit of better brawling and better biting coming down from CDU. They managed to get into the thick of it, and there was a lot of, from both teams, a lot of peeling action. You saw mechs drop off trying to engage in 1v1s. You saw mechs trying to bait another mech to come along with them. There was a lot of good rotating of armor. Honestly, I am terrified to play against them to a certain degree. But from a watching perspective, amazing, and I can't wait to see the next round.
Now, Vampy, if you're Strikewing's here, what sort of adjustment are you going to want to make here? Like, what are you thinking?
Do you mean
post-match
or drop 3? So assuming if they're still going to bring their racks, I definitely wouldn't want to engage in a brawl, because racks, you just cannot brawl with it for too long. You get jammed, you get heated up. And the advantage that CDU has over Strikewing is they don't have those jams, and they can just keep firing, shooting, so long as they don't overheat and shut down. But the weakness of Strikewing is they have to ram those racks down, or they risk losing their weapons, and they just cannot fight. So what I think, if they were to bring racks into match 3, they should be playing from a longer range, make good advantage of that 600-meter optimal range over the 270 that medium pulse lasers have. What do you think, Zane?
Well, so we can, I think it's a safe guess that Strikewings isn't going to run back the Rack 2s, because they've used their Bushies, they've used their Shadow Hawks, they have used all of the mechs that we know are good at running those particular weapons. Personally, I'm more thinking, if you were Burions or the team captain for Strikewings, are you going to try to change your plan for drop 3? Like, how would you mix this up? Because the brawl is not working for
you. So drop 3 is going to be on green plexus. So I think a gun line probably might be a viable strategy. So probably you can leave 2 mechs holding Hamburger Hill, if you will. From there, you do get a good vantage point over the entire battlefield. And then you have the other 4 mechs just hang around near that 2 overwatching mechs, just to be some kind of back last minute immediate defense if needed, or otherwise they can just move as a ball to scout the cap points and to just call out enemy position for the overwatching mechs to react to.
So what I'm hearing is you want to see the gun line at Gulf 10, Fox 10.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about the coordinates, but if that is what it is, then that is what it is at the Hamburger Hill.
That sounds like an area. I agree.
So not Hamburger Hill, but Yuntao, if you can pull up MWO Tactics for a sec.
One thing I want to point out real quick, because I always admire when I see it, I love the sportsmanship that we're seeing between these teammates. They're showing that they are happy to be in this match. They're showing that they want to be here in this match. They're giving each other compliments for this match. That's the type of stuff I want to see MWO. I know there's a lot of great players. I know there's a lot of people who have been playing this here for decades, but it's good to see moments where it's like, yo, dude, you blew my shit up. Good job. I loved it.
Great sportsmanship all around.
All right, I'm pulling up MWO Tactics, and I got to do a couple things to truly showcase it. And what am I doing to show it? We're just going to the right map. It's taking a second to load. Bear with me.
If you just want to mouse over Gulf 10, Fox 10, I realize, Vampy, with how we have this set up, you can't actually see it. But
Yeah.
there's a point at the top of the hill there where you can set up a beautiful gun line and get Overwatch coverage on both Sigma and Gamma.
Almost there. 1 second. All right, we're there. All right, what? It doesn't show me the coordinates right off the bat.
Never mind. We're gonna get into match shortly anyway.
All right, this is the area, everybody. Stuff that we are expecting. Hamburger Hill. Yeah, we're hoping it's gonna happen right around here. There you go. You got the picture.
Also, chat is very politely demanding that you switch your camera location so you're not covering the minimap.
Fair enough.
Very polite demands, chat. Thank you for those.
Definitely appreciate it.
The other side's fine, right?
So we talk about how.
Sorry, after you, Vampy.
All right, so we was talking about how would we want to see Strike Wing change their tactics, considering that they have lost 2 drops against CDU. How do you think CDU is gonna roll into match 3? Would they stick to the same thing,
CDU,
or are they
I'm
gonna
going
be
to stack 3 brawlers into Kappa, and I'm going to force them to answer me. I'm going to send 1 light mech to Sigma, and then I'm just going to say, we've won both brawls, fight me.
Coming in.
All right, real quick, I'm going to go over Strike Wing. We have a Cyclops hero Slapner coming in. Yet
So now
another.
CDU is running a Wolfhound. Oh, a Sleipnir.
Am I coming in?
Griffin, Commando, Assassin, and a Marauder.
I don't think they can hear me.
This is a very heavy drop from CDU. They've got 3 big assaults heading to Gamma, and then a wing of lights with the Assassin, the Wolfhound, and the Commando heading towards Kappa. The Wolfhound's running MPLs. Commando is going to be running SRMs. Sleipnir with LBXs. The Grasshopper is running 4 medium, 3 ER larges, and the Marauder is running an ER PPC and 6 AC2s.
Real quick, I want to chime in. We want to chime in with Strike Wing. We have a Cyclops, a Mech, a Victor, a Raven, a Wolfhound, and another Victor. Once again, they are coming up with some good mechs coming into this fight.
Now, Strike Wings has sent 4 towards Kappa. It looks like they're doing what I said CDU should do. They're just going to say, fight me at Kappa.
All right, we're going to see a Slapnir fight.
Sorry, can you tell me what's on that Victor, or the Victors?
The Victor, actually, I believe is running rotaries. Yeah, 3 rotary 2s, an SRM6, and 3 small lasers, excuse me.
More rotaries out of Strike Wing, okay.
I think even the map, the rotaries aren't a bad choice. It's long, it's huge, and with there's some just good vantage points you can take on this map. So I think Rags in general, not too bad of a choice.
Well, so what I have to assume here is that in their last match, Strike Wing lost when they held Kappa and they just got blown apart trying to push through to get the Kappa point. And I have to wonder if maybe they aren't going to try that. Bear Brawlers beat them with it, and you learn from your losses.
An early artillery strike. I think they just did not like that rock outcupping. I feel bad for the rocks. Whoever placed it there, well, shame on you. That wasn't a good placement. Jeez. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Maybe they just really hate rock Pokemon. I don't really know. They just really destroyed those rocks, didn't they?
I didn't see who threw it, but I have to assume that either Strike Wings or CDU caught sight of the other one's main body and tried to get the cheeky strike.
Yep, and right now we're seeing Strike Wing doing what they should with the Rags, just holding position and trying to stick with a longer range engagement. But right now they're throwing the advantage away. We see CDU moving for the 2 cap move, and we have 1 mech just trying to cap. Is that Gamma or is it Sigma? The top right one.
So Sigma. CDU has sent 1 mech to Sigma, and in response, Strike Wings has deployed their Urban Mech and their Raven, and it looks like they're going to go try to sneak Gamma. So trading points, it's not ideal. I think CDU has the better position here if that's the play, because they've got the AC2s and they're set up where I was calling on Gulf 10, Fox 10.
Mm-hmm. And with that 1 mech from Strike Wing going to get Gamma, I'm just afraid he's going to reach and find a nasty surprise.
We've captured resource point Sigma.
Here we go.
Yeah, no. This one's going to be on the Strike Wing light pilots, I think. Because if they can sneak Gamma and force a response, I think that's how they'll take it. What I would like to see from Strikewing here, though, is if they cheat up a little bit, they could start to get Overwatch on whoever rotates to take Gamma.
That's very true. And I'm not sure if this might be impatience on CDU's part. They held their position for quite a while, but now we see them splitting up. They're overwatching Gamma. We've got one overwatching Sigma, and the Mech that was capping Sigma is moving out towards Kappa.
Now
I assume that's scouting from CDU. You get nervous when it's been this long and you haven't really caught sight of the other team.
All right, and with that said, we already see the first shots raining out from the Mauler, seeing what's happening. Now, the key is if you take a hit, you gotta leave the zone. If you keep staying in there, they're not gonna be able to cap it at all. I don't know if they've realized it just yet. There they go. They have now started taking the shots out, moving and trying to get out of position. We do see a huge movement coming in from critical damage unit, realizing there are some light mechs trying to take their dear Gamma, their home, their bakery, everything they've ever held dear. They're trying to be like, no, please don't take her home. This Raven, though, not to be denied. I mean, they have balls of steel, is what I've heard. But will their balls of steel be able to handle an artillery strike coming at them? The Raven showing no fear, being like, no, this is my cap. This is my home. I rented it. And now after, dipping out in the leaves, as they're dipping out right now. Now notice
they got the sliver cap. They got what they came for.
They did indeed.
And I'm sorry, Ravi. This is going to be a bad time.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. As we see a commando skirting around, I think the commando has indeed noticed that the enemy is here. I mean, thankfully for the commando, it's moving quick, it's moving fast, but not to be disappointed. Beerons is like, nah, I have eyes of I would say elf, but probably just an Irby pilot. Probably Clan Jade Falcon if we allow some clanners inside the Innisphere tournament. They noticed the pilot and it's seen that they're trying to snake away to Kappa. Now, here's a decision. Does Strikewing make a play? Do they go back to Kappa to make sure that light mech doesn't get away, or did they keep pushing where they know the enemy team? It seems that the two light mechs of Strikewing are going to engage while the Gamma checkpoint is being taken over by critical damage unit.
No, it looks like they're all hard committing to Kappa.
Yep, I think this is a reverse. Initially, we see Strikewing capture Gamma, and then CDU responded. Now we see Strikewing respond to the capture on Kappa, and CDU just recapping Gamma. This is a change, interesting change.
Honestly, I think going for the 3 cap is a little greedy here from CDU. We'll see if Ravi can get out in the commando, and it looks like he will, but you already had the 2-point advantage, and, you're up 2 drops. Maybe you're feeling a little confident, but I wouldn't have taken the risk.
I think the point of capturing Kappa is not to actually go for a 3 cap, but just to turn it to neutral so Strikewing don't get any capture points, while CDU with the 2 points under their control gets a bigger and bigger lead under the belt.
If I may, to throw in some insight, I do agree with Vampy. I think the idea of that was maybe not so much as the cap, but to draw that attention, because as we have already experienced and know, Grand Plexus is way too big. It's such a huge map. This is not a slight to PGI. I love your map. Please don't yell at me. But it is a big as hell map. And so I think a lot of it is probably just to bring them back so that way they spend more time worrying about recapping. And I think Strikewing wanted this fight. And my God, I think that it would have been really cool to see this fight. But that is usually in my experience, why Sigma and Gamma are one of the more contested areas on the middle ground, because it's such an easy time to go between Sigma and Gamma as to be making the long stretch against Kappa. And I think now that Strikewing is realizing this, they're realizing they need to get into the fight. And on top of that, just to kind of go along with it, we might have a little scrap before us. Yes, we do. As I zoom on over, we see the commando showing pokes, showing fights against that Irby. The Irby not really enjoying this attention. 2 large lasers is quite enough to push them off, but the commando, not to be baited in, not wanting to be giving away their lead so lightly, is pulling away from the fight.
Now, we can see here essentially the advantage of going for the Gamma Sigma Overwatch instead of trying to hold Kappa, because look how much longer it's taking Strikewings to get their natural cap back at Sigma compared to how long it took CDU to flip Gamma.
And I must add, CDU has shown a lot of patience, not giving up the position, just holding their position right now to overwatch Sigma and Gamma. And I think suddenly that is playing into the advantage huge. As right now the clock is 1:30, we have Strikewing has to do something within this 1 minute and 30 minutes, otherwise they lose.
Now, I think if Strikewing gets Gamma here, they might be able to cinch it. There's only 1:30 on the clock. It may not be enough time.
I was gonna say, it's definitely gonna come very close. You already have the Overwatch positioning coming in from critical damage unit. We are about to see the first mech cross over Gamma. Now, an interesting thing, as you can see, and unfortunately I'm way on the other side of the battlefield, the mechs are actually going on in Sigma. There is a little bit of a fight going on, because I think critical damage unit also realizes that while they do have a lead, if they get 3 capped right now, that does put them at a slight disadvantage. As Gamma is going over, unfortunately our fights are being split apart, as we see light mechs going for light mechs. Now, the Raven is engaging, however, the Urban Mech has decided to bail. A Flamer coming out of the Commando trying to keep that Raven Mech at bay. That little scrap is going to keep on going. What's going on with the other scene? Is the critical damage unit able to put damage on the Gamma unit?
CDU dropped a nice RD strike onto Gamma, and now they're using those PPCs and AC2s to disrupt the cap.
I think at this point, the match is you can say it is over based on just cap points. There is just not enough time for Strikewing to turn this around.
I like light fights. I'm sorry,
15
guys. Light
seconds on
fights
the
are
clock,
pretty
even
sick.
you have 3
Look at
points,
this go.
it's just not enough to take the lead again. I think CDU has played this match well.
So, to context for everyone, each capture point is worth roughly 1.5 or 3 points every 2 seconds. And yeah, 480 to 473. Only the victor going down at the very end. Props to CDU. That is not an easy mental game to play, the waiting game.
Yeah, definitely. CDU indeed bringing fresh stuff to the table, as they say they would.
I said that was not as exciting for me, because I wanted to see more mech carnage, but I have to give respect to the tactical genius that sometimes is beyond me. We got to see a little light scrapping. We got to see a mech get killed. Unfortunately, it was off stream for me. But with that said, we know that both teams gave it all, and that's honestly, that's all I can ask for. I just want to see some good teamwork. I want to see some mechs fly. I want to see mechs run across Grimplexes back and forth, maybe 5 or 20,000 times. And you know what? I'll take what I can get. I enjoyed it.
Let's see here. The commando from CDU. That's Ravil. Is that his name?
He was the
definitely has
commando pilot.
Yeah, he's got balls of steel, man. I mean, you have to go out into the battlefield alone to scout, to cap. Definitely CDU played this very, very well. And props to Ravli.
And I do want to call out, so the reason you're in the Flamer on that commando is because if you get in a 1v1 with an assault or a heavy, you can shut him down with that Flamer. As much as we're, Ravi, balls of steel for running that commando, but he has built that commando to win the 1v1, and I like that.
Yeah, you say that, but then if the assault never fires and just wait for his team to come, that Flame is just not going to do a lot.
Also, to remind you, Yuntao, again, very polite notes from chat, is either Q or backspace, we're not 100% sure which, to bring up the name tags on stream.
I will roll my face over the keyboard. I'm sure I'm going to get a couple of them that time.
I need to make a macro that has every one of the things I've been told to press and just run that at the beginning of each match.
That would be useful.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good call. Once again, just a quick shout out. Thank you once again, Strikewing. Thank you once again, Critical Damage Unit, for giving us the opportunity to watch this match. I'm already loving it. I'm already enjoying it. I can't speak for them, but I'm going to speak for them. I bet they're enjoying it too. Talking about our good caster Zane, our good caster Vampy coming in hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling that way. That's a different thing. So we're going to keep on going with this match, and we're going to keep on fighting this. I do appreciate, once again, chat. You guys, you're what keeps this community going. We're just loud. We're just excited to be here. But y'all being here, watching this match with us, getting excited for these drops, no matter who wins or who loses. I'm sure you have your favorites. I'm sure you have your gambling bets. Gambling is not approved by anybody in 2D20 Foundation. But we're still excited to see it, and we're still excited to be here. My God, we're coming into now the next drop of Grimplexes. You guys have any thoughts on what's going to happen?
So
there's always the debate, like you see the enemy team doing something and it does well, do you want to adapt or do you want to stick with a game plan? So I'm not sure what Strikewing has up their sleeves for drop 4, where they're on the other side, they are much closer to Sigma and Gamma. They can do the exact thing that CDU did, but would they want to do it? They seem to be able to hold positions well, as we have seen from drop 3, but at the same time, they lost on caps in drop 3, so I think they might actually want to imitate what CDU did, but we never know. What do you think, Zane?
if I'm Strikewing, what I'm taking away from this is that CDU is the more experienced team in this matchup. And we know that they held the hill. We can make a decent guess that that's where they're going to be next round. So maybe instead of hard committing to Kappa, I send my one scout mech to Kappa, I send my main body to Sigma, and then I try to have the fight on that hill. Because like we saw in the first two drops, Strike Wing is comfortable fighting at that range. And that could be, I think that's the winning ticket there.
That's a good point, Zane. But from what we're seeing in the first two drops, Strike Wing for some reason just hasn't been able to move into good positions to start a fight. So if let's say Strike Wing indeed does send one light mech to Kappa and then move the entire body to Sigma, will they run into the issue where they're just not in good position to take the fight to CDU?
Something I got just to throw in my insight because I'm loving this. So one thing I will observe: CDU in both drop 1 and drop 2 of HPG were in there for the fight. They were in for the brawl. I'm kind of curious, and I would love if this was some of the mindset. So Strike Wing, what did they bring? They brought a brawl. They brought a fight. They were hoping for that fight. And then what did CDU? They changed this script on everybody. They decided to bring more of a ranged outfit, trying to do the defense against Sigma and Gamma. It was definitely was it a plan to kind of change everything up, or it was just something they felt like would be kind of a cool thing to do in the middle of the moment? I'm not really sure, but I have to say Strikewing was definitely trying to anticipate CDU's actions. At least it feels that way for the brawl. And while we didn't get to see it, I don't think CDU should be too discouraged, or excuse me, either of them, but Strikewing should be too discouraged. The most that they probably could have done in this situation was to have a little bit of scouting to go to find out, but they were set up for a fight. You don't bring in Irby for scouting. You can, and it definitely can work, but you bring it for the fight. And I think that that's what it came down to. That drop would have been glorious to see. I think Grimplex is just a little tough. I think possibly just a little bit different position. Maybe them going for the gimme flag and doing the wraparound. Could you imagine having that range fight against that type of brawl with rotaries coming and scoring at you? My goodness, that would have been amazing.
So, given how we've seen CDU playing, they have had the same plan each drop, and they have been running back their plan for each mob drop. They went basement both times on HPG. I'm going to hazard a guess. I'm going to say that they're going to go drop. They're going to go hill for drop 2 on Grimplexus here. And I have to wonder if maybe in the same way that we had Biter sort of shape us up for the ISC here, if maybe they didn't do a bit of a boot camp and just come up with okay, this is our plan for each map. This is what we're going to do. But I'm looking forward to see what's going to come in drop 4.
Blood for the blood guy, skulls for the skull round.
Yeah, just want to bring up the chat.
Demons are cool.
Saying, I demand blood. And Blazer P says he wants to see some more of the critical damage. So, will CDU bring the critical damage to the table this time? We have to wait and see. We've been saying that CDU, they're just primed to hold long range. They just changed their lineup, and right now they're just in a range build. But could they all of a sudden be changing things up into a short range brawler build and bring the fight to Strike Wing, hoping to catch them off guard and to just sweep them off the floor?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, if I'm Strike Wing, the brawls didn't go great on HPG, but I think those were all winnable brawls. Grimplexus, they got outmaneuvered. I think you have to adapt. I think you take the guess that CDU is going to run back the same plan, because why would you swap out hot hands? And you hope you can win the brawl at Golf 10, Fox 10.
Or would Strike Wing change things up to go even longer range, like maybe Gauze builds?
It'd be Gauze and AC2s, I think, is the only thing longer than their racks.
Yeah, or ER large lasers, I think.
Mm-hmm. ER larges are 900, I want to say. And apparently from chat, the Ultimate Ghost MWO apparently was the individual who was whipping CDU into shape.
I see. Man, he has put his weight definitely, and CDU, I would assume they definitely put their heart into learning. They have got a great open mind to improve that much in this short amount of time.
They look like a different team from the team that lost to Den of Wolves.
Yeah, I didn't watch that match, but from what you say, that be it.
One thing is, for someone who casted and watched this match between Strikewing and Bear Cavalry or Bear Brawlers, I will say Strikewing has taken that lesson in the first 2 drops where they grouped up, they had a plan, and they did the damage. I do think that Grimplexes for this 3rd drop, the plan was probably to have that fight at Kappa, and they were kind of hoping that they can snake that from Gamma, which it did work. And they did have the mechs. I think it did come down to CDU's light pilot having the foresight. Potentially was communicated. I can imagine there was probably comms going on. Having the foresight to go and grab that Kappa or that match, not for the cap more than likely, but for the distraction. So again, Strikewing has improved from the last one. They're definitely in there for the fight. I think that CDU is just doing some good moves. We're on to the next round.
Redbeard, the commenters are Zane, who you should recognize. I hang out in your chat sometimes. Hi. Yuntao and Vampy. We all play on 2D20, and we are also playing in this tournament.
All right, let's
go. We are.
Go over the build, the mechs, and then you guys can go over the builds. I just want you guys to go over the mechs, and then I can go over the mechs next, so we can get that out of the way real quick.
Our 3rd is Vampy, Redbeard.
Do you want me to go over the mechs?
No, I was just saying that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you can definitely do that. I'm just wanting to make sure that we go over each team quickly. So like real quick, I'm gonna go over critical damage unit, just the mechs for now. So we have a Cyclops Slapnir, we have a Mauler MX90, we have an Assassin 101, a Commando 1D, a Grasshopper 5H, and a Wolfhound 2. Loving the drop already. Go ahead and go over your mechs.
So we have a Hunchback, a Roughneck, Crab, Griffin, Catapult, and Cataphract and a Champion coming out from Strikewing, and it seems like they've taken longer range builds here. We got a Heavy Gauze on the Hunchback, large lasers on the Roughneck, another Heavy Gauze on the Cataphract, and Gauze on the Champion. They decided to bring range.
And not to be output, it looks like critical damage unit has done the same thing. Their Cyclops has Ultra AC5s on it. Their Mauler has an ERPPC. Now I'm checking on the light mechs that we seem to have. Remember, we have a Wolfhound and Assassin. I know it's a medium mech, but it's kind of like Met. And then we have them grabbing cap right now. It looks like a lot of their loads out as soon as I can actually press buttons. Shows that it's an SRM2, or excuse me, 2 SRM4s Flamer, the one we saw before. 6 medium pulse lasers on the Wolfhound 2, and Assassin 4 medium pulse lasers and 2 SRMs. So a half brawl, half getting to the mix, and half range, it seems.
We have Gamma.
So Strikewing didn't bring any lights. They have a mix of heavies and mediums. They've got the Hunchback, Roughneck, a Crab, a Griffin, Cataphract, and a Champion. Now we all know that our dear teammate Jace has a very fast champion he likes, but I'm worried that Strikewing is going to get outmaneuvered here.
Now, kind of like what you... Oh, good. You got it, Vampy. Go ahead. Absolutely. Keep
All right,
at
so
it.
right now we see CDU has gone for 2 caps, Kappa and Sigma. And right now the guys from Kappa is actually crossing over to Theta. And we see Strikewing hanging back at Gamma for some reason.
Well, they weren't hanging back. They're just slow. They've been rotating from their drop to Gamma, and now they're pushing up the hill. They've been going the whole time.
Oh, I see. But then I just feel like they're just a little bit slow. I mean, you see CDU, the guys leaving Sigma, and the guys leaving Kappa, they're bringing the fight to Strikewing already. And I think if a fight were to occur now, Strikewing were to be in a very bad position. They're having a line facing a concave.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, because if Strikewing just pushes up here and just tapes down their W key and rolls to Sigma, they're going to hit the 3 of CDU before those lights really have a chance to drop in. They're going to lose the back cap, but they might be able to get their own kills.
And with that said, I think we finally see the first crest. And yes, indeed, the Mauler goes in with the shots, firing everything it's got. Now, the question is, will Strikewing push this, or will they be intimidated by the range attack? It is scary when you crest a hill, and then boom, you got hits coming out. Looks like the Cataphract trying to put a damage. The Roughneck taking damage. The Hunchback, however, taking a little bit hits. Large lasers coming out of that Roughneck, trying to put in some good damage. As far as the trade goes, it does look like the Hunchback has taken it quite a bit, and it looks like there is still a little bit of tit for tat. Notice that Gamma is being capped by CDU. They have a officially in just a moment going to be going for, ooh, they did not go for the 3 cap. Instead, they are bringing their light mech into the fight. They see that the shots are going off, and it looks like they're still trading pretty decently into the back mechs of critical damage unit. The Mauler going down to 87%. The medium mech of the Hunchback, yes, being at 76%, but however, that is okay. Let's take a notice, though, of a UAV and the smart moves of using a UAV and putting an artillery strike on top of it. I'm not sure that's legal, but therefore, this is Mechwarrior Online. Some technology is just unfolding upon the battlefield, and we see the push. Strikewing, hearing our words, is deciding to push in. Now, they do have a Wolfhound 2 and Assassin, however, waiting on the flanks, waiting for that push. Now, we do see a limited mixed fire. Now, what will Strikewing do? Will they focus the light mechs who are closer? Will they keep on pushing at CDU? CDU, though, still able just to keep on putting out the fire. The Commandos coming in from a side flank. The Hunchback, already weakened, already damaged, is now in trouble as the Commando circles around it, trying to do the damage. The light mechs come CDU, trying to dodge, trying to bait as much as they can with Strikewing. Strikewing putting in the damage, but still, unfortunately, not able to focus on one mech at a time. It looks like a little bit of lag catching as this game fight is too awesome to handle as we see the fight unfold. Strikewing getting damage on multiple fronts. A cat in my lap also sensing the excitement. Multiple lag going down. What will happen? Who will win the match? Again, just too much carnage going on. We have the Griffin going in, and boom, another mech going down. We have one mech from the Cyclops of critical damage unit also taking fires. We see another Griffin getting taken out, the Champion getting taken out. All that's left is a Crab. I do not know why there is so much lag. Oh my goodness, look at this carnage as we see, wow, Strikewing not to be outbested, taking out yet another mech. The Crab, sensing the Grasshopper is near, deciding, you know what? I want all the tonnage. I want all the hits. Let us go for it. Oh my goodness, we cannot track all this carnage that's going on. The Crab trying to bait out the Crab, still going for that Grasshopper, losing a component.
So CDU,
Wow.
earned or not, has a bit of a reputation. And it seems someone on CDU took that personal, because they have been clean, they have been polished, and they have just been outplaying Strikewing in every one of these drops.
Absolutely. I think they had great positioning. They had like 3 mechs front facing to start the fight, but then they had 2 smaller mechs waiting at the side for a side attacker for a flank when Strikewing pushed into them. And I would note that the cataphract from Strikewing went down very quickly. I was wondering, is that an XL shot or is that a headshot even?
I didn't catch it. And I admit, we do occasionally run a cataphract. I don't, because I'm a light mech pilot. I would hope it's a headshot and not an XL, though.
Yeah, I was thinking, was that a headshot? Couldn't be, right? I mean, given the insane mess that you have with a fight, I mean, headshots do happen, but I think that might be an XL death.
I assume it's an XL, because the other thing, too, is I didn't check through the build, but it didn't seem like CDU had the sort of weapons you would just core somebody's head out with. Because they had, what, large lasers and AC2s, right?
I didn't go through the build too much, but yeah, I think they had lasers and ACs.
Yeah. I mean, maybe 5 AC2s can take out somebody's cockpit. Their Mauler also was bringing in ERPPC, but I'm not seeing any weapons on CDU that would have had the alpha to blow off a cataphract's head. You know, there was no heavy Gauss. Heavy Gauss is actually the only weapon I would be terrified of losing my head to in a cataphract, so I have to assume it was an XL.
Right. Yep. So XL seems to be the plausible one. Just would like to point out that when the fight engaged, as the commando from CDU was moving in position to capture Gamma from behind, there was one from Strikewing that turned around for some reason. So could that be distraction? Did he manage to catch something, or was there a miscomm on Strikewing's part?
I'm going to assume it was an instinctual thing. I'm going to assume the Strikewing pilot turned back, but then the call was made to no, we're going to hard commit, and thus he turned back around. But one of the problems that Strikewing is having, they're having problems committing to fights. It's scary, particularly when you're down 3 drops like Strikewing was in this fight. At a certain point, you just have to accept, okay, you know what? We have a plan. We need to do it, and we need to go. And I'm seeing a bit of hesitation from Strikewings in some of these fights.
I was gonna say.
That is true.
Oh, I was just gonna.
Go ahead,
I was real quick. I was just gonna chime in about the cataphracts. It was taking a lot of damage. The Hunchback took a lot of damage as well, but they were wanting to swap it out, which was a wise call on Strikewing because the Hunchback, it's a great glass cannon, but it can't take much hits. The cataphract going in, I am also curious to see what kind of engine was on it, but less aside of the engine, we do know it was being focused on by those 3 mechs who were setting up as a gun line. We did see that as soon as they crested that little corner, they had then 2 light mechs, probably all focusing the cataphract. It was under a lot of fire. Exa or not, that's a lot of punishment that even I have to say, I've seen our cataphract pilots, they can torso twist to all day of like the end of days, but I think under that all of that fire, it was just too much for them. I think that's simply what it came down to. That it was definitely really interesting. Yes, let's get to drop 5.
Also, sorry, there's one thing I'm going to want to go back and check of the VOD, but at least on the spectator, this could have been a bug. It looked like somebody already struck a UAV.
I talked
like
about
the flare
that.
was on the UAV.
I did. I caught that. I brought that in 100% because that was something interesting.
Is that the secret strat for getting hidden arty strikes? You just pop the UAV and then put the arty on the UAV? Is this the
if I'm not
Galaxy Brain
wrong,
play?
if I'm not wrong, it has been around but forgotten. Is a legacy thing.
Either way, it was quite exciting to see. All right, once again, we're going to go over the teams. Looks like I'll be covering Strikewing this time. I'll go ahead and go real quick.
So CDU has 2 Phoenix Hawks, 3 Annihilator 1s, and a Vulcan 5T. Phoenix Hawk and the Vulcans are going to be medium pulse. Let's see what's on these Annies. AC5, 3 AC10s, and 2 medium lasers. Brawler Annies. Oh, we have a disco.
Disco, that's a remake. It did within the first 2 minutes.
Disco time.
So I believe they need to call hold.
Yeah, they'll have to do a drop. They'll have to redo this.
Yep.
Do you want to just send them a reminder, Yuntao, that somebody should cap a point so that the mechs aren't locked for 10 minutes?
Yeah, they got a cap a point, suicide, or something.
See, otherwise your mechs.
It's unfortunate that a disconnect happened. Things happen, but it's fine. Each team gets a redrop. So what you do at the start is just call a hold, and if it's within the first minute, you actually have the option to redrop. But once utilized, you cannot redrop anymore.
Well, and we'll see if Strikewing asks for the redrop or if they're just going to go. Now, if the teams decide to unpause, oh, they're calling redrop. Strikewing is going to take Gamma point. So now all players are going to disconnect. This happens sometimes, folks. Nothing we can do about it.
All right.
So since we have the downtime, I just would like to bring out the fight that you mentioned. Like Strikewing is showing hesitation, and that is very different from the performance that they had in the first 2 drops. So in the first 2 drops, we see that Strikewing, when they encountered the enemy, they could pull back, regroup, and then take the fight. But in Green Plexus drop 4, even though we do kind of see the same thing where when they encounter the enemy unit, they will pull back and wait for regroup, but somehow they just do it differently. There's just this hesitation that they're not willing to bring the fight to CDU, and I think there's some psychological factor at work here.
It's always hard to go for the brawl when you have lost the brawl 4 drops in a row. Like, we even started to get that a bit in our first match. And then if I could get Yoke to spectator.
Definitely not what we expected, everybody. Unfortunately, these happened. It literally happened in our drop or our drops yesterday. We had a redrop that had to happen for the enemy team, so we had to redo it. Sadly, we made the mistake of actually just like not capping a point, so the matches were incredibly difficult to actually keep going.
Definitely remind Birions about that.
So right now we're just waiting for the reset, and hopefully
now teams can change up their drop plan on redrops. Also, if you're curious to why we seem to be so familiar with the redrop issues, we had this same problem on our mining collector drop 5.
Yeah, we had to go through the rules just to check out how the redrop works.
We also knew to remember to cap the point because we forgot and had to sit for 10 minutes.
Indeed.
Very exciting content. Thank goodness we were being casted then. I could only guess what the commentary would have been.
I mean, to be fair, if we had been casted, hopefully the casters would have reminded us the way we reminded them.
Absolutely,
I'd like to think they'd be nice.
Oh, for sure.
But then again, maybe the casters didn't know about that themselves too. They just thought, oh, just quit and you can just start the next match.
I'll admit, for a minute there, I was kind of worried if they weren't going to let us wait. I was like, oh god, what other Irby can I run?
Oh, hi. Okay, all right.
Dire
Hi, Pupper.
Wolf.
Ghost Wolf Clan coming in.
My plan was,
I'm
so in
being
practice,
invaded!
we had
Hi.
tested out, it was an R63
Your cuteness is very powerful.
with 2 snub PPCs in the torso.
Oh my...
I was going to bring that. It's not a good mech, but it's
I love you. Yes, I love you.
Okay, it looks like the teams are back in and getting reorganized.
Congratulations.
Okay. The lock.
I gotta go. I love you.
Yep.
Bye.
And speaking of fun, I will agree that 2 snubs is fun. I run a street cleaner myself with 2 snub PPCs, and I've done good damage with it. It's just, people don't expect that sort of damage coming from a street cleaner.
No, they don't. I mean, to be fair, people don't expect damage from Irbies anyway.
And then they realize. I mean, it still doesn't match up to my Incubus, or like back in the day, even my Raven running AC-20s and then just running around in a light mech and just being like, hey, cool, you ignored me. Goodbye to your rear armor. I mean...
I told you about that urban mech in confidence.
I'm sorry.
No, I think
telling all the strads.
The AC-20 Irby is a delightful meme. And it looks like Strike Wings is locked back up.
All right, we'll redo this again. Yeah, and I know chat's gonna be like, "Hey, they didn't call hold or like that." I think that was the intention, though. Maybe I jumped the gun as a caster to be like, "Hey, this is gonna be a remake." I just kind of assumed that if one person was gonna have a disconnection errors,
the redrop before you mentioned the thing.
Oh, did he? Okay, I might have missed that. I was a little worried that I was calling it for the team.
No worries. I think we all operate in good faith.
Right. I know it gets a little scary, but all right, here we go. Once again, into the breach.
Chat, do you think Strike Wing is gonna take 1 for themselves, or is CDU gonna get the 5th win?
Knowing chat, they're just here for the mechs to blow up. I think there is going to be a little bit of decisions towards CEDU. But I personally will have to admit, I'm rooting for Strike Wing. I want to see Strike Wing pull it off. I want to see them get into the thick of it, as I feel like they want to. All this entire time, they've been wanting these fights. They just, unfortunately, have not been in quite the same position that I think they would enjoy. And CDU has been playing it smart. They've been staying adaptive. They've been trying to make sure that they don't get comfortable against, or Strike Wing doesn't get comfortable against them. All right, going over these mechs through again. Go ahead and start, Zane.
So it looks like the same drop coming through from CDU. 3 Annies, 2 Phoenix Hawks, and a Vulcan. Medium pulses on the Phoenix Hawk and the Vulcan. Annies with AC-10s and 5s, as well as medium lasers.
All right, and then real quick, I'll go over them. So for Strike Wing, we have an Annihilator 1X, we have a Cyclops S, we have a Fleet 20, a Fafnir 5S, love to see it, and Annihilator 1A, and a Locust. So a little bit of light, a little bit of heavy. And looking at the Annihilators, we already have... Oh, okay. Unfortunately, there's only 1 crash per redrop. So, Zane, go for it. Type it in chat real quick.
I'm gonna... Oh, we're paused again. Holding.
No.
Now, I think if both teams agree to it, you can get more than 1 redrop.
Well, it's the same team.
Controlled by the enemy.
Yeah, from what I understand, you get only 1 redrop per team.
Yeah.
We need.
We'll see. We'll let the team captains figure out how it goes here, because we don't know and we do not want to
influence
give people the wrong information.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Different players on striking these times, though.
I'm pretty sure that they're not able to do another redrop, sadly. I'm not sure what this means, though, because the time is still ticking.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up the rules as quick as I can, but I'm assuming that they're potentially already leaving.
I haven't seen disconnect messages, but I don't know if we get those on the spectator client. Now, I do see an interesting mech to talk about as we're paused here. The Locust 1V on Technomancer. What's that running?
I was doing my best to look at the rules in the meantime. Sorry about that.
I'm going to go run over and look at it then.
All right, thank you. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, so they are talking about that they can't leave. In chat, they're talking about it.
4 machine guns and 1 ER medium.
Can you? Are you checking the rules or am I?
I thought you were.
It's not loading it right away, but I think they're covering it right now. I'm trying to find it.
I'm gonna have to check the VODs, but I think CDU took the theta cap after hold was called.
Yeah,
but
looks like
again, Strikewing
So-
didn't actually say hold.
So I've reached the disconnect rules. I'm just going to read out verbatim. If a
Okay.
team loses one or more players due to disconnection within the first minute of play, and before a mech is destroyed or a point is capped, the team will call a hold in all chat and report the situation to the opponent. Both teams must stop immediately and await further instructions from the team that called hold. Unless these requirements are not met, damage dealt does not interfere with the hold request. If the disconnected player reconnects, pick a time on the game clock that is within 15 seconds and say go at this particular time. As soon as the game time that is announced is reached, play can resume. If a player cannot reconnect in 2 minutes, the drop will not count and will need to be redropped. On a redrop, both teams must overheat kill run off the map and end the match. One team must capture a point before all mechs are destroyed, as the mechs will be locked for 15 minutes. This match will not count and will be restarted. Please note that a redrop cannot be redropped again by the team that caused the initial redrop.
Real quick, we're just gonna have to get into the fighters already, as we already have Strikewing taking Theta, trying to get into the drop right now. Looks like they have decided to go all for it. They did call the go, and so we see the fight indeed going. A Fleet 20 is trying to sneak up and see if it can catch that Annihilator as it moves on up. They have taken the top with Strikewing. Their Annies, their Fafnir, their Cyclops, all the Assault Mechs being there. Now, critical damage unit is playing the ramp and trying to actually put the damage into them. Looks like they are trying to use the wall cover as much as they can. The Phoenix Hawk's taking the jump test, taking the high cover right on. Now it just comes down to our trade warfare. Now, CDU does have the double cap, so it is a time against time with the Strikewing being behind just a little bit. Will they be able to bring this back? Will they be able to put the damage? Strikewing needs to push in if they are having any chance to clutch this match. Let's just start off.
I actually think Strikewing has a chance here on the back half. They've got their 2 lights going for Sigma. If they're able to break down Theta with those Annihilators, it could be they punch it through here. I just don't know if the score differential from that pause is going to be, if that's going to be an insurmountable mountain or not.
Notice that the Annihilator has not noticed the 2 light mechs taking the cap, or they do not care, as they are still putting on their aggression and their push. A Fafnir getting engaged with the Annihilator, but still getting support fire for yet another Annie. Ooh, we have a couple of mechs that have dropped, 2 Annihilator and a Cyclops, seeing the Phoenix Hawk, putting the damage, but unfortunately the Annihilator up top, being left alone, has been finally taken up by the Phoenix Hawk and Vulcan, putting out their mobility to trade into it. But not to be beat, critical damage has lost another Phoenix Hawk to their own, but the Fafnir having taken the onslaught for maybe 2, maybe even 3 Annies. All the Annies going in, the Flea Mechs coming into the rear armor, putting the damage against, go ahead, Voodoo's Starship, losing their torso, machine guns pouring into the Daka. They are trying to even out this fight with being the light mechs, the best light mech boys you can see. All 3 Annihilators on the low ground, the Vulcan, the Phoenix Hawk, realizing what is happening is trying to go and infiltrate as it's just 2 light mechs against a team of 5.
I'm just surprised how long Voodoo actually stayed alive against that machine gun in his back.
Also, as much as this is going to look like a CDU win, I still think Burions and Technomancer can pull this out. They have the 2 cap points. They have a minute 30. It's possible they'll get their own score.
Now, we do see that the medium mix, and that's going to be the thing that's going to be the difficult thing, is not the annihilers at this point. Oh, and I spoke too soon, as Ravi, not wanting to be mistaken, used their their AC-10s and AC-5 to cripple and destroy that Locust. Now it's all up to Birons. Birons in the Fleet 20 doing their best to keep their cap point advantage. Will they be able to pull it off? A Vulcan screening them, knowing what they're going to be going for, or just going for the cap. So it will be a Fleet 20 versus a Vulcan. The Vulcan has spotted the Fleet 20. Has the Fleet 20 spotted the Vulcan? It looks like the Vulcan has set their eyes on cap point. The Fleet 20 using their sneaky fleet ways, is using the hill cover. Will they be able to re-engage? Will they be able to stop this fight? We will have to wait.
I don't even know you can actually walk up that hill. Barons showing us the moves.
There's a couple hills
Enemy
along the
forces
very
have
side
Sigma.
here that you can sneak up.
They
So
have
there's definitely a
resource point
tense
Gamma.
moment right here as we enter quite a stalemate, but CDU is putting the pressure on Strike Wing, getting all 3 captures, but at the same time, Barons capturing Gamma is alerting CDU to his position, and now they're all pouring over the Gamma.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, a Phoenix Hawk versus a Fleet 20, I have to put my money on the Phoenix Hawk just because of how quick and how much damage it can put out. But not to be outbeaten, Fleet 20 Birons is like, oh, a Vulcan? No big deal. I'm gonna shoot you and walk on by. Fleet here don't care. That's an old meme that no one cares about anymore, but we're gonna go with it anyways. Now the Fleet is fighting the Phoenix Hawk 2 and the Vulcan. Come on, Barons, let us see that power that is the Fleet Mech. Will a Vulcan and Phoenix be able to do anything about it? Looks like they are trying to scrap it. The Fleet 20, not to be scared off too easily, is going initially back to the fight. The Fleet 20 is smoking. The Fleet 20 dipping and diving, parry, thrust, all the moves given available to it. The fight goes on, and finally, as I was clicking on the Fleet 20 to see how weak it was, the Vulcan and the Phoenix Hawk were able to finally put an end to the Fleet 20. What a fight.
Now, as much as that was a win for CDU, I don't think you can call that a fair win. With the disconnect issues and the score running up during the pause, just Strike Wings, you could have won that match.
It's tough to say at this point because life is unfortunate and sometimes it's not kind, and the internet is definitely about that as well. We saw CDU put up a good fight. They definitely had more of a lead because of the situation. With that said, it still was a good play for CDU to bring that mini mechs and bring in the medium mechs to kind of keep them covered. I think that's what gave them the advantage in that fight. The light mechs and the moves that Strike Wing was doing definitely could have worked out for them. They were in a position with that double cap, but the aim on Ravi with that Annihilator, sniping that light mech as it was trying to run by, that kind of cinched it for CDU. Yeah, it could have gone a lot of different ways with how this match went, but ultimately CDU did win this match.
Yeah, we're going
Indeed.
to... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Zane.
If you guys would like, why don't we jump into the ISC comp Discord, and we'll invite Birions and Crypto to come in for talk about the match a bit. Let's hop on over.
Sure thing.
I'll be right there. There we go. Let's go ahead and see what's going on. My goodness, everybody. Still, what a fight. We're going to go ahead and swap over to see if we can get any conversation going with the ISC, see if we can get some conversations, and see if we can see what's kind of happening. We're going to move over to the match room.
Okay. Yinto, if you want to DM Birions and Crypto.
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now.
Also, this is more a thing I'm saying out loud for me. I'm not going to talk about the last drop as a potential sportsmanship thing. It's not a conversation I think we should have on stream.
So you're not going to analyze it? That's what you mean?
I'm just saying I don't think we talk about drop 5 too much with all the
Ah.
disconnect issues. Like drops 1
Yeah,
and 4,
sure.
we have clean matches to talk about.
Mhm.
And then, so we'll get both teams to introduce themselves. And then, sorry, wait, we're on stream for this, aren't we?
Yes, we're all on stream still. That has not
Well,
dissipated.
Chad, you get to listen to me planning out an interview here. I figure we get both players to introduce themselves a bit, and then we just sort of talk through the drops.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, give me a
Hey,
second. Let me get another 2 more guys. They want to be part of the interview.
If possible, we'd like to limit it just so that we're not trying to talk to 8 people at once.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Then I will cover for all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely keep those DM messages, keep that all going. We're waiting for Biron's to come in. Biron's also wants to bring in a few people. I'll get to that in a second.
He doesn't get more people either. While we're waiting, Crypto, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about CDU.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Good morning or good afternoon, depending what time zone you're all in. My name is Crypto OKI, and I've been playing this game for about a year. I started exactly on Christmas Day of last year. I love this game. Never heard of MechWarrior. I saw the Timberwolf poster in the mall back when I was in college, and that's my introduction to MechWarrior. I came into this game last year, and I enjoy it a lot. And I found out about comp somewhere during the summertime, and I want to be part of it. And this community is awesome because you can't do this. You cannot be part of comp if you play any other games. This game, the population is small enough, and we're close knit, and it's just awesome to have an average player, guys who just played maybe less than a year, to form a team, form a unit, and then to be part of the comps. So we're brand new units. We form in November. This is a collection of guys from NWRT, from Arsenal, from various groups, but essentially it's a brand new unit. Almost all of our players are less than a year old. I'm the oldest player in the group, the founder, yes. So I'm the oldest, I'm a year old. Everybody else pretty much 6 months or less. So we're focused yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt real quick. I just want to bring out, so both CDU and Strikewing have shown interest in bringing multiple people into the lobby. If everyone can maintain the comms and so that we can actually have a decent discussion, decent interview, I'm okay with it. I just kind of want to bring that up real quick. So, Crypto, if you feel pretty confident about it, I'm going to let Birons know the same.
And Birons, while we're doing that, if we could just get you to introduce yourself and Strikewings.
Myself and the team? Okay. Well, I'm Birons. I'm not technically the leader of Strikewing, but I am the one who organized the majority of the tournament entry, so that's why I'm listed as leader. The actual kind of Strikewing is Werewolf, who isn't in this Discord, but I'm going to ask if he can come to the tournament.
I was gonna say, if you guys are down for trying to maintain the comms as much as possible, let's go ahead and bring everybody in. As far as let's just try to keep it somewhat manageable, so it's not too much over talking. So yeah, Birons, if you want to grab your guy who's been helping organize this in Crypto, if you have another person you want to bring along, feel free to invite them real quick, and then we'll restart this.
Also, Birons and Crypto, I've DM'd you both a link to the MWO maps, and Yunta, I'll send it to you as well. We're going to use that for when we're talking about how the drops goes, just so we have a nice visual whiteboard for people to look at.
If you send me a link, I can get to it.
I sent it. It's sent to you already.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Hey, you sent to me.
Yep, I'm opening it right now.
Also, we're not going to do too much of the debrief on stream, I think.
Well, we're going to cover at least a little bit of each match, just some of the basic thoughts. The main things I want to kind of go over, just to make sure everyone's aware. This is meant to be kind of like a good discussion, a little bit of light commentary about each of the matches. We're not going to be going too much into details. Obviously, tough matches for both teams, and I want to kind of keep that in measure, keep up the sportsmanship. I know you guys were already demonstrating it between you two. Let's try to keep that focus, so that way we can kind of make this more of a productive interview and a productive meetup. If everyone's on board about that, I'm on board to stream it.
Also, again, fair warning, this is being streamed.
Yeah, thank you. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Yep, that's fine.
All right, guys, bring in your friends who you want to bring in, and we'll get this train on the roll.
Yeah, I sent the invite already, so if they are not here, then that's okay. We can go ahead with just me.
Okay, so actually, Birons, I'd like to start with you. What was the thought process behind the street cleaner in Drop 1?
I am very good in an urban mech. Usually. That is the entire purpose. We used our 3 urban mechs. I was piloting them all 3 times. I can wreck face in an urban mech. Round 2, the slow urban mech, I think, or no, sorry, round 3, I think it was on Grim. I was very,
round 1 if we can.
I was round 1. The street cleaner, it's the fastest urban mech by far. It can fit a 30 classes higher engine in it. It can go the speed of most actually fast light mechs. Plus, it's got the insane urban mech armor.
And now, sorry, Crypto, right?
Yes.
We also, you guys had a real rough go week 1. Did you guys do any practice? Because you looked a lot cleaner in this drop and throughout this match than you guys looked against Den of Wolves. So tell us about your plan on HPG here and just the whole thing.
Thank you. We practice ungodly amount of hours, and I want to say thank you to the veteran community for coming in and help us. We got people from JGX came and help us. We got all kind of people come and help us. So I want to give credit to them. So the lesson learned that we learned from last time, the first strategy we did was we went and we essentially stayed together, murder ball techniques, and we found out that did not work very well. So this time we had a strategy that we gonna occupy Kappa, and then we took Theta. We're just gonna fight for Theta. If we win or lose, that's gonna be the game right there. Once we take Theta, Once we take Theta, the game plan is that if they come and now we got 2 points. Once we get 2 points, we can stay there and we're comfortable. If they rush the bottom, we'll fight them in the bottom. If they Kappa, then we will come out and fight them on top. And that was the game plan.
And that's kind of what happened.
Yep.
I'd say obviously.
That was our trigger. Every time they Kappa, because we know that they're 1 mech down, and then so we rushed to top to attack them.
It's like I was going to say real quick.
Rack 2 is drop 2. I'm gonna skip forward a bit here.
Can't hear me. That's right.
And you took top. I think that was the right call, but where did the fight break down there? Because we saw 2 very good brawls on top, and I'm curious to see what the fight was like from Strikewing's side.
For us, I was in the urban mech. Me and my Shays, who I believe was in a locust, we were just the point getters and the scouts, and that urban mech was kind of a last minute choice because I forgot that you can't take 2 heroes in the same match. I was going to take the street cleaner again, but then that couldn't happen, obviously. So I was in a less skilled urban mech, which was my fault. But the less armor definitely hurt me.
You did better than we did when we accidentally took 2 heroes round 1.
Oof.
Now, Crypto,
Yeah,
what was... sorry, after you, Barions.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's just get Crypto go.
Yeah. So the key point of taking top was, I don't know the name of the mechs, but whoever dropped down, because we have to come up. But as we were coming up, one of the mech dropped down. We took advantage of it. It's already 4 against 5, but once that mech came down, we essentially killed him, and then that was pretty much the game right there. Your first death, I can't remember who he was. Your first death, that's the guy that was the key centerpiece. If he stayed on top, I think that would have been a very tough fight. You guys, we're not that skilled, so I know you were very capable of taking us 4 against 5.
Yeah, that guy who fell off, I forget who it was, but that was an accident, and that definitely, I think, skewed the game in your favor. That's what I think decided it. At least that battle in particular.
Any other comments you'd like to make on the HPG drop before we move on to Grim?
Nope.
Well, real quick, I gotta say, just from a person who was super excited, my God, all those rotaries, that was insane with all those rotaries that were pelting away. I was super excited to see that for Strikewing. All right, that's it. I just really want to say that.
Yeah, no, the rotary drop was exciting.
Yeah, I think Warwolf said they were the Rotary Brothers. We just tried to see what is the stupidest amount of rotary AC2 we can fit in a drop, and it was, I think it was 12 racked. 12 rack 2s across 4 mechs.
On your second game in HPG, you did really well because you took me out, you took out the 2 top player we have in Alcataro because with your rotary. So it worked very well. Yeah,
Just
so
the
it-
sheer volume of sustained firepower.
Yep.
Okay,
I
so
think there's a few minor screw ups on that. I think decided the match.
okay, so Crypto, let
Yeah.
Variant go first last time. Tell us what your plan was for Grim here, and absolutely feel free to use the whiteboard.
Yeah, so it was lesson learned from last week also. Last week we murdered ball, we went to gamma, and then we essentially just went straight up this way. But this week we changed it. We sent a light mech to Kappa because we have to control 2 points. And then we send our assault mechs followed by me and a grasshopper. And our plan was to take this hill so I can shoot down this way, and then I can shoot down this way. So that was our game plan. But what happened was the intel and Kappa would kind of dictate us. So we end up staying somewhere around here, and what the intel on Kappa is what drive our direction. Whether we go Sigma and Gamma on the first drop. Yep. Okay.
And now, Barion's, being honest, like I casted your guys' games last week, it looks like you had some hard feelings about Kappa in that first drop. Tell us about that.
I'm trying to remember. God, it all went by so fast.
It does go by
First drop
super
on Grim.
fast.
I was in the slower mech, correct?
Yes, and you had no, that was drop 4. Drop 3, you had the bushies, I want to say. Wait, no, that was drop 2. The first drop on Grim's
Yeah,
was the one where
drop
you
3.
stacked up on Kappa.
Yeah, that was the one where I was running this slower mech. Can I erase these lines?
They've already been cleared.
Oh, it doesn't show it for me.
It's cleared on my screen, but yes, you can erase the lines if you hit that little. There's the one, the very last icon that's like just the cancel circle.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so can I just... Oh, drawing. How do I draw?
Top right
pencil.
pencil.
Click on the
Okay.
pencil. Yep.
Okay, so we obviously just like stacked all of our guys on Alpha Lance Team 2. We went down to Kappa, and we were just like, the brawl's gonna be at Kappa. Everyone's gonna be at Kappa. Kappa, Kappa, Kappa. Everyone go to Kappa. And then we were like, wait a minute, no one's here.
But Sally was Kappa. Haha,
And then
Twitch
we
joke.
just kind of didn't know what to do. And then we were like, okay, everyone go to Gamma. Let's take Gamma. And then I think as we were going there, we spotted a commando like over here. And that screwed us all up because we all went to chase a squirrel, even the slow ones. And we shouldn't have done that. And we sent our lights to Gamma while all the assaults went after the commando, which was kind of not a very good move in retrospect. And it ended up with us just chasing the commando all over the map. And I think we ended up going to Gamma and sending our lights to Sigma. And I was trying to come up behind the force going this way through like here. And I couldn't get there in time because I was slow. I think we had all the points, but you guys were just stacked up right here. And we couldn't get our guys that were slow to Gamma in time. And
Thank you, level
time ran out, and
19877.
CDU had more points.
Appreciate that. And thanks for the comments.
Yeah,
Also, doing good
the key
casting.
part was that we control 2
trying.
points at any given time, and that's the reason we're here. You only had Kappa. Once you took over Gamma, we sent a runner. We sent a runner to Sigma to cap Sigma.
Yeah, you
And-
sent the commando to Sigma.
Yep. And then once you guys departed Kappa, we send that commando back to get Kappa. So now we always have 2, and you have Gamma. So that was really the advantage that we got. And we won by points in this game, not necessarily by kill.
This was
by
actually a
points.
completely bloodless game until the victor at the very end.
And the light
Yeah, if
mechs.
the
The
victor
light
didn't
mechs,
charge
to be
us,
fair.
there wouldn't be any kill at all.
Also, Crypto, I don't know if you're following the Twitch chat, but the Ultimate Ghost has been very proud of you this whole match.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's been cheerleading you guys in the chat. It's
Yeah,
great to see.
he's our coach. We have a lot of coach. Now, we practice this so many times because this is the hardest map. Because what happened is that every time that we
agree.
send a commando, when we practice against other units that come and practice with us, every single time we send we realize that Kappa is literally the center of the gravity. If you lose Kappa, we lose intel, and we lose everything pretty much. So what happened every single time we send here, the command will keep dying. So we swap out so many players. I mean, every single person in our unit at least try one time trying to take Kappa. And that's how aggressive, that's how important Kappa was, in my opinion, for a 3-point maps.
It was very important.
Yeah, because once we occupied this zone here, we know that, well, if you all came to this zone, that would fight. It would have been just a force on force, and the game would be over. But we know that once we occupy the zone, we can control Sigma and Gamma, but we're controlling blindly, and that's why Kappa is so important. And you can, when we get defeated every single time because we don't have intel on Kappa, but because we got intel on Kappa, and that's what gave us a position, because we can reposition ourselves from one side of the hill, which is Sigma, or the other side of the hill, which is Gamma, and that's a huge important.
And if I may, I was just going to say real quick, Strike Wing, I saw your mechs in the very beginning. I personally was super excited to see that fight. I was hoping for it. I was watching your light mechs duke it out over by Sigma. I thought that fight was great. I definitely did enjoy the flamer coming out of CDU with the SRMs. Definitely a really smart play for a medium pulse mechs, especially if you're running against it. Probably wasn't expecting a Raven, but with that said, I was living for that. I wanted to see that fight, though. I really did. And I think this drop is a solid drop. I would love to see you run this drop again.
Yeah, and if I may move on to round 4.
Sorry,
Absolutely.
one last thing on Grims, just that like Grims is very much the map that I think we're going to see the most point caps on, just because of how big it is in comparison to Mining Collective and
how you can't get the middle.
Anyway, to round 4, Birions.
Round 4.
No,
We
this
were
is gonna be a
like,
good one. This is an interesting one.
we know what they're gonna do. We're gonna expect what they're gonna do. We're just gonna murder ball to Gappa. Gamma. We're gonna murder ball straight to Gamma. We're gonna murder ball through here. We're gonna get Sigma, and then we're gonna go back here and hold. Because we thought you guys were gonna do the opposite and just go to Kappa, but you didn't. You went here, and we met here, and we were too hesitant on the brawl, and you guys just deleted us at range.
Yeah, you play, like I said, we practice over and over again too, because we realized that Kappa was the center, and that's how we know that once we realize that you're not committing to Kappa, your alternate choice is you're probably going to come strong and going to come straight up. And we gave you the hill. Normally you want the hill and shoot down, but this time we gave you the hills as you're coming up the hill. But for some reason you came in a split force. You came on the left side, and you sent a crab on the right side. And so what we did is, like I said, because the Kappa was our intel, once we realized this, it was easy. We set up all our forces. I'll be red here. We set our forces on the bottom shooting up. There's a line. And we got our assaultman on this side, and the grasshopper, which is my range, that's me, shooting this side. So essentially what happened is you guys were attracted to this group here. And you kind of left me alone. I got 2 kills, and I did so much damage just from that side. The only thing is that once you departed, and this is why Kappa is important, once you departed this area, your Gamma is pretty much left alone. So we send this guy back in to cap Gamma. Once he capped Gamma, he came back behind you and harassed you, and that was his job.
Yeah, he totally killed me.
Yeah, his job was to harass, not necessarily kill, but he did that too. So yeah, so it worked. I think that's what caused the delay, and it was perfect timing. If you guys all committed, we don't have all our forces. So if you committed, you would have wiped us out, but you didn't commit it.
I think we were too hesitant to the brawl.
Yeah, because all we had was essentially 2 assault mechs and a grasshopper. And
yeah,
you have one question, Birion. Why no light mech? You had a very heavy drop for Team 1. A lot of mediums, a lot of heavies, but what was the thought process
for
drop?
For drop 4, let me pull up our sheet for drop 4.
Murder
what
ball,
we were going to do
assuming?
is we were going to try and more evenly spread out the tonnage. We had a griffin, a crab, a hunchback, and then we had a cataphract, a roughneck, and a champion as our heavier mechs.
Man, what a fight.
But like the moment like change in strategy kind of our mech strategy and our tactic strategy were not in sync. Our strategy, I forget exactly what it was, but it was not what we did, because what we did was kind of spur of the moment. We were reacting to what was happening instead of going with our gut and doing what we were going to do. And I think it might have ended up the same either way, but our mech strategy, our mech choices were meant for
That's so helpful. God, I need
different
to know
game
that button.
plan.
Wait, who turned on the grid and how did you do it? Because that's been bugging me whenever we've used MWO, the map thing.
Wasn't me.
Oh, we didn't turn on the grid. It was always there.
It wasn't for me.
Oh,
Ghost turned on the grid. Ah!
I
The
did.
polter grid.
So, how do I even explain this? In the top right, right at the top, you have an arrow hand, like a TV, and then a grid thing, right?
It's on the left hand side.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, we all learned something now. Woo! PBS star. I was just gonna say real quick. I was again another match where I was excited to see the murder ball, and I definitely saw it there. Yeah, there was a little bit of hesitation. I can understand it to even a certain degree because there you go. There's the 3 range mech. Where are the rest of them? I actually wanted to ask a question to Crypto. With that commando, you capped it over to neutral, but didn't full cap it. Was that because you wanted that light mech to engage and started getting into the enemy right away, or were you just not realizing that it was not fully capped?
Yeah, so one of the key thing is we swap our player, and Ravi took over the commando role. We have Ichi. Ichi is our drop caller. So we took one of our best player, but essentially what we need is, we told you earlier before, when we practice this, we practice every single player at least practice taking Kappa once with the commando. And we found out that Ravi was our best commando pilot. So we swap our drop caller, Ichi,
Wow.
and
CDU
play
on.
commando. So his
Definitely
job
put into
is literally
practice.
we don't need him to take the cap fully. What his job is really, this is what we told him: intelligence first, get information, and then cap. If you can cap, if you can kill, then kill. Those are the 3 things. But the most important thing is intelligence, because intelligence is what drive us. Let me draw it here. I'll be red again for the blue team. What drive us? What give us decision to go take the hill or stay where we at? And because the advantage and disadvantage of taking a hill, taking a hill, you can cover 2 points. But the problem is now I'm exposing myself to potential light mech rush and all these other stuff, where we have a good center of gravity here. I don't know if that helped explain what. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you answered it. You went into more of the depth of the plan, but it's exactly what I was kind of thinking. I was surprised to see the commando cap it for a moment, but I kind of assumed it was just you saw what the kind of like the flank you had with your, I believe it's a wolfhound, and it was your commando or another mech, and then with your gun line being able to kind of keep on that pressure. So having the commando come in, I thought was a great move. I mean, of course,
You're talking about during when they attack mode, when they actually attack. Yeah, we call them in. Yes. He came in from behind, so the commando came in from behind to assault. They essentially did exactly what we want them to do, and if they killed the commando, that would have been a loss. But at least it would slow them enough that we can range them, and did exactly that.
I have to say real quick before we move on to another map where everybody else into the feedback. Shrikewing, I did like Biron's, how you guys definitely initiated. Yeah, it was a little late. It was maybe later than it could have been. But when you guys did initiate, the mech kills started happening. By the end of it, I believe it was you guys lost your mechs, but you took down to 3 of them in that time with like the damaged mechs that you had with you. I just want to say, for brawling's sake, you guys definitely performed it. If it was a little bit sooner, yeah, I think you probably would have done pretty decent against CDU. CDU definitely had the intelligence, as he's mentioning. He definitely had the plans for it. So it would have been a tough fight either way. But I want to give you guys a little props for at least trying to make it an even fight, even with it being somewhat not in your favor.
Yeah,
We
no,
spent
we know. Yeah,
we
know
spent
that
like
they're strong.
we spent all of yesterday and most of the day before doing practice brawls with other units and doing scrims and stuff. So we had a lot of practice on that, but I think our strategies were lacking.
And I do want to commend CDU on the mental game, because especially like we saw in drop 3, less so here in drop 4, but like when you're holding a position, even if you have the cap lead, it gets very nerve-wracking if there's no fighting going on.
It is. We realize that if we have to go into a brawl situation, close range, when we have to fight, I think that's where
Strike-wing did great. Absolutely.
they can beat us. We know that they can beat us even
Absolutely.
4 against 5. They demonstrate that in HPG, and we don't want to get into a fight situation. We want to at least war of attrition, try to attrition them as much as we can, and then that be in our favor, and hope they make mistakes. And that was, we won by cap on the first game, and the second game, it was just there was an opportunity that turned out in our favor. That was it. Yeah. So we respect their strength, and their strength was that to fight us, and we try to avoid that as much as we can.
No, definitely well played from both teams. I know there might be a few more comments. I just want to say, as we move into this next drop, the being Mining Collective, obviously we're just going to get out of the way. A lot of internet connection issues already observed, already noticed. Unfortunately, that's life. It sucks sometimes. And you guys handled it as best as you could. We were wanting to be helpful as far as casters. There's only so much that as unofficial casters we did, so we do apologize that we weren't able to help more so. I have to say, you guys handled it as best you could given the situation. And with that said, that fight was something spectacular. But before we move on
we just got very unlucky to have we had Zix disconnect, and then we had Techno disconnect.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. Before, just to make sure, was there anything left as last notes for the Grimplexes?
I'm done.
Oh yeah, I'm done with Grimplex.
Okay. If everyone's good with going into Mining Collective, I'm down to hear it. So, Zane, Vampy, you've got questions, obviously, but feel free to take the floor.
First things first, I love that both y'all decided triple annies on Mining Collective. It was real fun to see the big tall boys duking it out.
Yeah.
Or Strikewings, you only ran 2, but still. Annihilators on Mining Collective. It's a good mech.
Big boys, big heavy mechs.
I saw that little Fafnir sneaking in there. Love to see a Fafnir. I think it's the first one I've seen. At least is the matches I've been able to watch. So, mwah!
Den of Wolves has dropped a couple Faffies. They like that for their early matches, I think. Burions, I think Crypto described his plan first. So what was your guys' plan going into Mining Collective here?
Maximum tonnage. How many assaults can we bring? Can they all be 100 tons? How many heavy Gauss rifles can we bring? We just need to get 4 assault mechs on Theta, get them all back to back against the cap point, and just have lights go do the other caps, and just have an impenetrable wall on Theta. Although the wall was penetrated. But we had a Cyclops Sleipnir, twin heavy Gauss, Annihilator, twin heavy Gauss. I think we had a different Annihilator with 4 LB10s, and we had something else with twin heavy Gauss. Oh, no, Fafnir. And then we had a Locust and myself and a Flea. Just absolute min-max tonnage. Fleas go get the points, and we have the impenetrable wall on Theta.
If I may, real quick, something that we didn't get to mention before, and I want to kind of highlight it in this one because we saw it twice. Pirate Spain on HPG. I don't remember who was piloting it, but we saw that mech and the Fleet 20 in your, excuse me, you just said the other Locust.
Both, it was a 1v.
1v, thank you very much. You guys played that time game so well. I was super curious to see if you were going to be able to pull off both times. Both times, I think you had a chance. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I didn't know I did forget it from the HPG match, hiding Harry Potter style under that ramp. Loved every minute of it. All right, sorry to interrupt.
Now, Crypto, mad props for pulling off the side castle.
Side castle? Is that what it's called?
That's what we've been calling it in 2D20. I don't know if that's a community nickname. If I have the power to make it a community nickname, we should totally call it Side Castle.
Yeah, that is the best.
Yeah, I didn't know what to call it, but essentially we stack all our Annihilator right here, and they're all shooting into this direction, into this direction. And our game plan was Charlie Lance, which is our jump Phoenix Hawks. We're gonna go and try to get Theta, but uncontested. You know, if they're contested, they're not gonna fight them, and they're gonna peel back, and we're gonna pretty much do like a feint or like a withdrawal. Let me see if I can delete everything. They're gonna try to pull them in, exactly what they did, and we were very happy because we're gonna pull them in, chase them essentially, into this kill zone right here. This is all the kill zone, and that's essentially what happened in the game with the fight. All the fighting was all in the D5 area, and so it worked out in our favor in that regard.
Yeah,
just
I
would like
think
to chime in.
I think our main fault here was instead of maintaining the impenetrable wall, we did venture out into Delta 5. We had our lights go get Gamma, and we had our lights keep going and keep going and keep going, and we're like, oh no, all their tonnage is here. And then we went there.
And there was a moment that Vampy, actually, go ahead. I think you were about to say something earlier.
Yeah, was just curious. Like, I know Crypto, you were here in the Annie, and
Yeah.
then Birons pointed out they had a flea and a locust capture Sigma. So all this time you were actually looking forward to data. Were you not afraid of the locust and the flea coming behind you because you did not react to the capture here at all?
No, we know that he was captured, and so we were aware, but we didn't know what type of mech it was. But there was nothing we could do about it. It was we didn't expect it. It was like the one thing we did not expect. They did it, and since we didn't know what was behind us that captured it, there was not much we can do because by that time we have to engage in this fight because once we saw the Fascinator, the Annihilator, we had to commit to that.
That's fair. That's absolutely
yeah,
fair.
if they came in, whoever, I think it was a Raven that came in, but I think if that Raven came in earlier, would have wrecked that.
It was
that
either
entire
a
line.
locust or a flea.
It was a
These-
flea and a locust. We were both back on Sigma. You were just lucky, I guess, that it was two 20-ton mechs and not something more heavy.
Yeah, and but it was a decision that we made. I saw it, and I let that Voodoo let that group, but no one called out for it because we just kind of like all commit to shooting toward data.
Yeah, we were shooting you in the flea and the locust like huge, big time, but you guys were not turning around at all because I guess there's only so much that like 8 small pulse lasers can do.
And I think it's more of a lesson, if anything else, because what do they have in front of them? Fafnirs and Annihilator, like big, heavy boys, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
While I would also want to deal with the light mechs, and I probably would be crying in quick play, please, someone take them out. I have to agree. Like they had the decision. They knew if they took out that tonnage that was before them, they would have a better match. Like, yeah, one another goes down, but that's another one still to take over that spot. I do think that it makes sense why they're going for it. I do not discount the power of 2 light mechs harassing an Annihilator. I know by the end of it, it was losing chunks off that mech, but I do understand and even respect the call for Crypto to keep focusing, because I believe it was Crypto in that mech for sure, to keep focusing on what was in front of them, because that's the name of the game. Focus fire until they're dead.
Now, one thing I want to commend CDU for here again, you did this on Grim Drop 4 too, but you guys were really good about using the longer range weapons to disrupt the caps.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done.
Pretty much that's our strategy on all our maps, because we don't want to. If you put a Fascinator and Annihilator, any of our pilot, I'm absolutely confident he can kill me 1-on-1 or even 1 against 2. So what we're trying to do is attrish them from long range and work our way down, and then that will help out a little bit. And it worked out in our favor because they essentially move into our kill zone. Now it was a very dangerous, but it was talking about split second. Once we saw Sigma countdown, or what do you call it, Mach? We knew that there's a light mechs in our area, but there's nothing we could do about it because we have to commit to the fight, you know.
No, absolutely. And I think that for what we can see, Strikewing was doing pretty much the best they had. They took the center, they had it. I think it just came down to you guys being in a good position already, and that made it kind of tough. I think the light mechs moving to grab Sigma after grabbing Gamma was the smartest play. And for a moment, like I said earlier in that match with HPG, I think the Strikewing could have potentially pulled it off. It was definitely tough that CDU still had a Phoenix Hawk, still had a Vulcan in order to kind of follow it out. And then I got to give it up. Then Nader, I think it was Ravi, or I probably mispronounced it, and I apologize greatly. Getting that shot on the Locust as it was trying to run around that corner, that kind of cinched it for me. It's like, oh damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was with Techno, me and the Flea, him and the Locust. as soon as I see the techno died, I was like, oh well, it's done at this point. I can try, but I'm not gonna win. And I was right here back in this area. In our practice, we learned that this area, no one checks this area. This area is the best area to hide if you're a light mech, and
That's
it's down to
true.
just points in time. Overwatch and Gamma, and I see the Phoenix Hawk and the Vulcan both come here. I wasn't looking. I didn't know how many mechs there were. I was like, if I run for Sigma, I'm gonna be out of time. If I engage these guys, I'm gonna lose. I figured YOLO, and I engaged these guys, and I lost.
But a valiant fight to be had. 1v2 against a Vulcan and Phoenix Hawk. Not a fight. I did not think your fleet was going to last as long as it did. But
yeah, I was not expecting to last that long either.
Some good piloting. I mean, from both sides, for sure. But some good fighting for the fleet. And it was definitely, once again, another match that almost went to time if done that way. But the Vulcan Phoenix Hawk, I know the Phoenix Hawk quickly turned around as soon as it saw that game was being capped. And the Vulcan was not far behind. The Annihilators probably were trudging their best to kind of get to it. I was not paying attention. I was excited to see that little scrap between light versus medium. And it was a good scrap. It was a solid fight.
Yeah, solid brawls all around, guys.
Yeah, no, kudo on these guys. They did an amazing job. We were tense up. I had to be honest, we were scared the whole time because as long as they get to us, they could kill us. So we know that, and so we try to using techniques and strategy and just a different approach to keep them at check, and it worked out very well in our favor.
Yeah.
And winning by clock time management, which is weird. You think you would win by fight, but it's by clock.
I think points and timer are more important in ISC than I think anyone originally anticipated.
With the 10-minute, I didn't play in the last one, but it did go from a 15-minute timer, if I remember correctly, to a 10-minute timer. And yeah, I talked a little bit with some of the admins. Shout out to Nabob and Kaylin Firestar putting all that work to get all this set up. Firestar, excuse me. But they did that intentionally. They wanted to make the time, maybe necessarily a cap win to see a lot of times, but to put that pressure. And I think that's one of the most consistent things we've seen in all these matches. While it might come down to the brawl, the cap points, you can't ignore them. They definitely come into play. If even just an anxious, stress out, what the hell am I doing right now? I'm worried about that point going higher and higher. It's good to see because it leads us into more intense gameplay or a long drawn out fight till we see pot shots being taken. But either way, it's usually an interesting climax at some point.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, if there's any residual comments or anything that we want to kind of give out to each other, I just want to do a quick shout out to both CDU and to SW. You guys put on quite the show, and I just want to thank you on behalf of 2D20, Yuntao, Zane, and Vampy. Thank you for putting such a good fight for us. I know it was a 5-0 drop, but to us, we were in it from the throughout the entire match. There was always a moment of like, what's going to happen next? Who's going to bring out what mechs? Look at those builds. Those builds are awesome. Like, there was hype throughout the entire match. And just thanks, guys. This is a great opportunity for us. We're happy just to see this kind of stuff. And all in all, we all love Mechwarrior Online. We'd like to see stuff blow up. It's good to see more of that.
Yeah, and I think the general reaction from the rest of SW is that you guys are really amazing casters, and we'd definitely like to have you on again.
Well, we'll do our best.
I say we're happy to keep doing it. We are unofficial. We have gotten a little support from Aces Wild to help us out a little bit. But honestly, we'll do it if the community wants it. We're just happy to be a part of it. So thanks a lot, guys.
Yep, thank you. Thank you so much.
So Zane... Oh, go ahead, Beer. I'm sorry.
That was 5-0, but I think that is the closest 5-0 I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely entertaining every minute of it. It definitely could have gone in a little different ways, and as even CDU was able to admit, you surprised him a couple times. So you just managed to have a little bit stronger deck and a little bit stronger group focus, and all that. Big shock, everybody. Practice. It's all just practice. Keep it up. I'm sure both your teams are going to go super far. I'd hate to play against both of you, either of you. But real quick, Zane, any last comments?
I mean, CDU, the way the matches are going, looks like we might end up matched against you. We'll see you guys on the battlefield.
Yep. See you. Hey, thank you very much. Good luck, everyone.
Right. Thanks to you.
Good luck to you as well, CDU.
And Vampy, any last comments as well?
I would just say that CDU and SW definitely put up a good fight, and even though it's a 5-0 or 0-5, depending how you look at it, as Biron's pointed out, it is not the same 050. Like CDU and SW definitely made things fresh. Like wins and losses throughout the 5 drops, they were all different. And I think it's just great. This match was definitely a good one.
All right, and with that said, congratulations, everyone. We just got through another match of week 2. On to week 3. Who will win? Who will lose? I'm sure we all will win or lose in some way or form. But once again, thank you for Ace of Swap for putting on the show. Thank you for all the teams who signed up and made this possible. And once again, thank you CDU, thank you Strike Wing, and happy hunting, everybody. Good luck out there.
Good luck.
Yep, bye.
GG.
All right, Zane, Vampy, we're gonna go retire to our final thoughts into our Discord, and then we'll end the stream. Thanks again, everybody. We'll post the. Oh, I was just gonna say we're gonna post a video. If anybody wants to download it or use it, you're more than welcome to. Okay.
Where's that going to be posted? Just video replay in the ISC Discord?
That is the plan. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to be watching that probably more than once.
Please do, Browns, and we'll definitely see if we can organize some scrim between us. I know that was something we were interested. I would be interested to play and see if we can learn some stuff from each other.
All right. I'll see you in the future. Goodbye.
Later, bud. Well, in that case, we are here already. So, final thoughts, guys.
Are we off?
No, it's gonna take a 5-minute delay either way. So, unless you want to end it here, and then I can just say goodbye.
No, I mean, overall, matches were great. I think it was a lot closer than 5-0 would suggest. Like, those were winnable brawls for Strikewing, but CDU was just the more organized team. They knew what their plan was, and they executed it better.
Yeah, I think it could have been a 2-3 or 3-2.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw this game and how these matches played out, kind of been going a little bit where I think the one that I was like, okay, I think CDU has it, was that third Grimplexes or the second Grimplexes match, just based off of where the positioning was kind of going and where the timing was going off. Every other match, though, I was like, okay, this could go either way. The timeouts, like how close that Strikewing came to like capping out and winning by time. The fight over Grimplexes and drop 3, where Strikewing was in a good position against CDU, but CDU had that great conclave. There was a lot of moments where we were excited to see it because it definitely could have gone either way. But I agree, Zane. It just took a little more organization from CDU, and they managed to pull it off. But all in all, fantastic matches tonight. Can't wait to see what next week brings.
Indeed.
All right, well, we're probably going to end it here. So, Zane, if you want to say goodbye.
That was a great match, and we'll see you guys all next week.
And Vampy.
And have a good night or good morning for the rest of the day, depending on where you are. And we'll see you next time.
And there we have it, everybody. 2D20, we're casting the best. At least we're trying to cast the best. And honestly, I just hope everyone has a good time. And that's where our focus with our casting goes. Maybe it was a little more insightful with both Vampy and Zane. Thank you guys for being some of the best technical cast advisors. And I hope you guys didn't get too overridden by my excitement as I see things blow up and see the matches go. I just love this game. I love being a part of the community. But this is 2D20 signing off. Everyone else, have a wonderful day, wonderful night, or anything in between. And remember, we'll be around. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.